Hello, Adobe Live, and thank you for tuning in, whether you're watching from YouTube, Behance. I'm Lucas O'Keefe, and I'm joined with Sara Stepherson.
Hi, everyone.
For a very exciting day, full action-packed schedule of tons of things, starting it off with one session that I think is literally magic on your computer screen. We're going off with photo restoration with Adobe Firefly. I'm gonna go through the schedule of just what else we got going on, because it is, like I said, gonna be an exciting day. After this, coming up, we have Grow Your YouTube Channel with Adobe Express with myself and Anna Daviscourt. Following that, we have Wedding Photo Compositing with Structure Reference. Sara's coming back on. And we are finishing it off with Finding the Perfect Palette with Anna and myself as the host. Tuning in, great to see everybody in the chat. Hello, Robert. Hello, Kane. Hello, Keys. Hello, Michelle. We'll be here putting your questions out there. I'll be making sure we multitask and get to those. But without further ado, Sara, why don't you introduce yourself and let us know what will be the magic we'll be seeing today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sara. I'm a photo editor. So people will reach out to me online and they'll ask me to edit their photos, and then I'll edit them. So I started out doing my own, like family photos, wedding photos, whatever. And then I just got popular on Instagram and YouTube, and here I am today. These are my great-grandparents, so my mom's grandparents. I've never met them, but she was doing some spring cleaning, and she found this photo of them, and of course, parents are a little, you know how they take the photo, right? It's a photo of a photo. So we're going to touch that up a bit, we're going to colorize it, and then we're even going to move their eyes, because you can kind of see they're looking the other way.
And let me tell you, when I was explaining to my mom that I'm doing this session first, she might even be watching. Mom, if you're in the audience, you probably don't know how to comment on YouTube, but I enjoy. But she was so excited to see this, and I think so many families really do see how important this is because, again, we all have those old photos somewhere to dig up. Right?
And they're always too, like I've had some where they're like stuck in the picture frame, but they're like they have cracks, or like we're gonna work on this one too, where it's like distorted, right? Someone spilled something on it, and so it's
over
like
time, but
like that's all you have, right? And so this one, I'm surprised how nice it is. Really impressed that there's like not even like a scratch on it, but
frames doing their job, protecting that photo.
Right, but it'd be kind of cool to kind of see like what it would look like colorized. So I will show you guys.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So first, you're gonna go over to open up your photo, and there's filter and neuro filters, and this is literally amazing. When Photoshop came out with this, I was like, this is game changer. So there's a lot of things you can do in here as it loads. Let's just skip the tour because I'll show you guys. So,
I'm personally loving the tutorials and the tours though. And all the Adobe products, I'm seeing so many of these great tours and these little tool tips now, and I'm loving them.
Right, and it's actually really cool because sometimes I'm like, oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Right.
Or I'm doing it all like manually, and I'm like, oh, there's like a button for that. So
yeah, exactly.
It's pretty cool. So if you haven't downloaded it, you download it, and this is what it does automatically. Which is, see, it's so cool because I've never seen my grandparents, like I don't know what they look like. So I'm like, oh, this feels a little bit more real.
Yeah.
You can change the coloring here and like the profiles if you want to do like retro. Let's just try it.
And that was with the click of a button.
Oh.
You did that so fast. How did you do that so quickly?
Yeah, I know, right? Like I'm like, this is awesome. And like you can kind of see it's like a little bit like not quite right, like in these things. And a few people that I've done, like clients, they'll tell me like, oh, can you make sure the lips are a little like less red?
Okay.
So like we can go in there to kind of like fix that. And what I like to use is like the paintbrush tool. It's like color replacement.
Okay.
So this is like super easy. So if I just wanted to do the blue, you just Alt and then like use the key dropper to kind of drag around where you want. So I kind of want this blue, and then you can just kind of color over it.
Look at that.
So then it like matches.
And that's probably like maybe the glare from the photo of the frame to begin with.
For sure.
Look at that just being painted away.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like a little harsh. And so sometimes like what I'll do is like after coloring it, right, as you can see, it's kind of like, I mean, I guess this part's kind of green, but sometimes I'll just like change the opacity of the layer so it kind of like blends in a little bit more. But I guess this is all green, so you just kind of color away, right? Make it more blue, because that's probably what the background was like a blue old background. Right.
And like you said, I think we're all working with the same, those of us who have these photos, we're working with the same starting point where it's either in a frame, maybe it's had some wear and tear over the years, maybe it's probably had some fading over the years. But look at that, that looks brand new. That looks like the family portrait my family has on my childhood home wall.
I know, I'm like, and all like my grandma, she just passed away. Was almost 92, so she has so many of these old photos. So I'm like, it'd be so cool to like go in and colorize all them.
So see, like, this is pretty cool how it's like matching like almost perfectly to the
Yeah.
other side. I love this tool, the color replacement.
That is amazing. And this left side here that you're retouching, that was because you took the photo of the photo in a frame?
Yeah,
So it kind of caught
my
the
mom
light?
lives in Vegas or Utah now, so she just went around and took pictures of like all her things. Cause I'm like, can you send me some old photos?
I need some material.
So like, yeah, you have kind of this, and so what we would do to fix this, I really like the camera raw filter. Usually use this if you have like a raw photo. Wait, did it work? But you can also do it as like a filter almost. So you can also like do color adjustments kind of like in Lightroom if you guys are more familiar with that, which is kind of nice. But also like if you want to fix the cropping of this,
Yep.
I just like kind of like tilting it, right? Make it more straight.
As opposed to like being taken from overhead.
Yeah, it's
trying to
kind of
have
like
that
this. Because then
snapshot.
also too, like since there is this glare, we could probably try to fix this using Generative Fill now instead of like trying to like darken it and stuff like that. I feel like Generative Fill does a pretty good job of like matching it. And
Very
I'm not
cool.
even gonna put anything in it.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna see what it does.
That's been my favorite usage of Generative Fill lately. I
Yeah.
don't even put in a prompt anymore.
Yeah.
I just circle it or highlight it, select it, and let the rest happen.
It just
and it does
knows.
so well.
I saw the Adobe like April Fool's thing where it's like mind reading. I'm like, it kind of is though. Like it's
It is.
pretty, and so it's a little bit lighter. We have a few different ones. I kind of like this one the
I
best.
do. Yeah, me too.
Compared to like before, where it does make it look so, it almost looks like a crayon. Like
Yes.
in my opinion, like somebody like drew that in, whereas this kind of looks more part of the photo.
Yep.
And then you can darken that as well, right? But I kind of want. Let's just try.
And we have
fixing
a
the
question
border.
from Kane.
Ooh.
Are you using any mask for the color editing, or do you use mask for the color?
For like the color replacement tool. I'm
Yes,
guessing
but
is
when
what-
you were doing the background.
No, I wasn't doing any masking. You definitely can, right? Like, I mean, you can kind of see this as like, I could have like select the subject kind of thing. Right, and then make sure I don't color into them. I'll see,
Right.
Because her too, she's a little blue right here, which isn't right. But no, I'm just literally
Look at that.
just like eyedropping like a color and then just painting right on it, the photo.
It's so intuitive too. Like it knows when you're doing it on the person, right? On
Yeah.
the subject.
I know, right?
That's awesome.
I'm like, it's pretty cool how.
Hey Bruno, thanks for tuning in. We are doing photo retouching with with Photoshop and Firefly.
Yeah. So yeah, this is pretty fun. Oh yeah, see that's. I'm just gonna get rid of.
I'm just
that
thinking
one.
of how many photos, like you said, like members of our family who we have never seen
Yeah.
photos of,
Right.
colorized, and just having the potential to do this is really amazing. That
It is
looks
so
like
cool.
a brand new photo.
Especially too when I always ask people like, oh, if you have extra photos or like family members that like have the same skin tone, like send it my way so I can make sure it like matches.
Okay.
And almost every time they're like, that looks perfect. Like you don't have to change anything. And I'm like, oh sweet. Let's just get rid of this border first.
And I'm sure, do you ever find you doing the editing? Do you ever find you're like your own worst critic with like, what if people don't notice this? But I'm sure when people receive this photo, they are just blown away with the memories they can
It does-
relive through this.
Right, because since this is so quick, I mean, I still have to do like a little. Oh, see, that works way better.
Oh, look at
I
that.
feel
Yeah,
like.
there's the shoulder.
Kind of like that one better. I'm always like sometimes I forget how important these are because then I'll get messages be like, my mom's crying right now, like she's always wanted this photo redone, and I'm just like, oh, like I had no idea because usually it's like, can you restore this photo? You know, it's like no backstory, nothing. Whereas it's afterwards where it's like, thank you so much, like my mom lost her parents, you know, something like that where I'm like, oh, like wow, that is so cool. So I always love it when people feel like they can share that with me.
Yes, absolutely. It's like I
really
said,
great.
it's magic.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, you kind of get the point. And right, I think I would redo like the shoulder right there again with the Generative Fill, but we can kind of move on like to actual retouching.
Awesome.
Let's do some actual stuff because here, right, his face is totally it's ripped apart. So which is like so cute. And I did edit this photo earlier. This was before Generative Fill. So I'm excited to kind of see what
So you've done the process.
Yes.
You've done the process before Generative Fill
Yeah.
was an option, and I've heard that was quite lengthy compared to what we're going to be doing today.
Yes. I think this photo, I think there's a way on Photoshop to like check your time, but this
Like
is the
spent on
after.
something?
Yeah, but I'm like like to do that face, it took me so long. So I'm kind of excited to see how long this will take me.
Let's dive into it.
So I feel like a trick for using Generative Fill is to kind of do it in sections. Like if I just like circled this whole part around the face, I feel like sometimes it kind of gets a little confused because like this rip is going into the background. So sometimes I kind of like to take the clone stamp tool, which is on your left, and just kind of like almost make like little paths to kind of separate it.
Okay.
Right, to make it smaller, because like the hair, that's like pretty easy to do.
Yep.
You can either do that or like the healing brush tool sometimes works as well.
And Kane just had a great question about that, but again, I think you answered it. When it comes to photo damage, do you like to paint in some of the spots that are torn, or would you prefer generative fill? And then they said, I think I just heard your answer.
Right, of course, because sometimes it's like kind of easy because it's just like, look at these like little dots, right, or even like right here. And you know, generative fill does kind of take a couple more seconds, whereas you could just paint it in and it's like way easier to do it that way. But I do like the remove tool, which is kind of fairly new. That one you just like highlight and you just like wait. I love this tool. This one definitely helps with photo restoration because I feel like it kind of like matches the background really well.
I can't even imagine. I forget where they were already.
Yeah,
like,
I'm like,
I'd have to see the original to see where the crack. Yeah.
So like it kind of created like a little
were.
thing, but I'm like, it's nice because it doesn't really make it like clay, right? It's kind of, it does match it. So like right here. So that's probably what I would do first is use the remove tool, and then if I don't like the outcome, right, like let's just see what this does. Yeah, it's kind of like, that's when I would use like generative fill right here.
Okay.
And so maybe let's get
So divide and conquer.
Yeah. It definitely, works out a lot. And I kind of use that tactic before generative fill. I would do like divide and then do content aware fill.
Okay.
Which I can show you guys later what, kind of that, but let's just see what this comes up with.
And as Lisa pointed out, you're recreating memories. Absolutely. That's what I'm thinking about while watching this too.
Right.
So this is the whole face being selected.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what it does. And this might still be a little bit too big, but I think it's gonna work, so. Oh, see, it even kind of gave him like a little mustache too, which I would have never get. Oh, that one looks so cool. That one's a little messy, but that one, like I feel like it did the nose and mouth so well.
And I love that I love how all three options are very strong.
Yeah.
And they're really just like different identities. Someone could go through and say, that's the one that looks most correct, right?
That would be kind of cool too. I feel like if I had more time to actually like edit with the client, but sometimes I feel like that probably be a lot of pressure on them.
Right.
I'd be like, oh, does this, like especially, I'll remove like tubes from babies who passed away, sadly. Okay. And they're like, I just want to see like my son or daughter's face. And so I'll remove the tubes and I'm like, okay, like let me know like, do their cheeks need to be higher? Are their lips bigger? And usually they're really like, oh, like yeah, like maybe this a little bigger, like fix the nose here. And then they end up loving it. So it's kind of cool to get their feedback to make it like their own.
Yeah.
So yeah, for this sometimes I'm like, I like the nose on the first one or the second one.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll like do 2 layers. I'll just Control J is like to copy. And then I'll kind of erase. So
are you taking parts from each of the 2 generations that you like to put them together?
Yeah, so then the Smart Object will get rid of if you start erasing, but I kind of like doing this because I'm like, oh, if I like the eyebrow better right here, now I have like both.
Awesome, look at that.
So you can kind of pick and choose is what I like, how it goes like 3 layers, or you can even do like, oh, oops, I just exited out of that. I hate when I do that, when I'm trying to combine the layers.
Something that I'm sure everyone in the comments has also related to.
Yeah, right. We can all relate to stuff like that. And so then you have like this new layer, and it's kind of like still a little bit color distorted. And so we can kind of fix that. Before I would like colorize this, I definitely like to make everything like more black and white, because then I feel like it kind of gets confused. But if everything's like all like the gray, blue, black color, then it won't like
make it all like a level playing field.
Yeah, I'm like, this wasn't really yellow. This is definitely just like from sun damage kind of thing. So I definitely would get rid of that, or even how like his face is definitely not blue in real life.
I hope anyone hoping to do this is taking notes, because you're just in that, like divide it up into sections. That's a huge tip and takeaway right there, right? Make sure it's all the same color or the same like tone first, then get going on to the next step. I love that.
It's like so huge. Like let's say too, like you wanted to get rid of like this person. What I would do is I would like clone stamp this part and almost just like draw a line right here. Oops, that was wrong. Draw like a line to kind of like divide it apart to make it separate. Because then I feel like generative fill is like, oh, okay, this is part of the background. It needs to be the background now.
Okay. It's not attached to anyone else in the photo.
Because then sometimes I feel like if you do generative fill, it'll kind of make it into a new person, which is kind of weird. But like, I think they're fixing that. But which is like kind of cool too. Maybe if like the whole face was distorted and you wanted to generate a face, but that's kind of what I do is like to divide is literally just creating like almost like little rivers, like straights, because that's just been like game changing for me to kind of figure out what like Generative Fill's mind is for the remove tool.
And again, it's really been a little over a year too. I think Firefly celebrated his first birthday a week or two ago, which is awesome. And it's just been amazing to follow this journey and to see this technology come about.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like everyone was, especially like for me, since I'm like a photo editor, they're like, oh, you're gonna lose your job to AI. You know, that's like the really scary thing about AI. But I'm like, it definitely is more of like a tool. Like, right, I still have to click, type, select, like choose the two, erase, combine the layers. Like, it helps me like make my workflow faster, but it's not like automatic.
And huge disclaimer, I couldn't do this. So there you go.
Right?
Give me all the tools in the world and I couldn't do this. That's why I'm the host and you're the guest.
I've actually had a few people, they're like, oh, not like when first the Generative Fill came out, they're like, oh, never mind, like I don't want to, you know, purchase this photo from you because I'm going to do it myself. I'm like, okay, like, yeah, do it. Like, I think that's really cool, like, how you can do it. I'm like, I don't need to edit your photo kind of thing.
And then they came back to you a week later
right.
and said, hey, never
like,
mind,
okay,
I was wrong,
actually,
I need you.
can you fix this? Actually, that kind of was her eyebrow, so let's go back. But I love that. Like, I just got rid of, like, that crack so easily, and it kind of, like, created more, like, it created, like, that shadow and kind of the rest of her eyebrow. Whereas, like, before, like, oh, that was bad. I would have to, like, maybe copy the eyebrow on this side and go on the other side. And so it's really helpful, like how.
And I've heard like photo restoration prior to Generative Fill was like an extremely long process. Is that correct?
Yes, because oh my gosh, like sometimes when they're so like speckled with like just dust.
Everywhere,
It's just like you're going in like right here, like just like bit by bit. Whereas actually now, let's actually go back to NeuroFilters. Like I said, right, this has everything. NeuroFilters has a lot of like restoration stuff.
Okay.
So if you're like new to restoration, I would go here first. So they have the colorize option, but also there's the photo restoration, which I gotta download first. So let's just see what the colorize does really quick. See, it's kind of like, it's like the green in the background and her face is pretty good and like her dress too. And that's why like, see how like the yellow just kind of changed to gray?
Yep.
So if I got rid of it, we'll maybe do it later. It would turn out a lot better, but like even like their faces, and so
you recommend like the touch-ups and then applying the filter, the colorization.
Definitely, yeah. I feel like the colorization is definitely like a last kind of thing if it is like messed up. Okay, let's see.
And we're seeing the comments. Peter just pointed out it's fun to do and it looks fun to do.
It is super fun because it's kind of like how many black and white photos do you have? Like my grandparents have so many,
Exactly.
so like you could just see like where they were, what they were wearing.
Like I said, this I could see this just being a beautiful gift to give to someone who never thought, right? Like I said, my parents would love this, my grandparents, my relatives, they probably never thought they would see these photos or these memories in color like this.
Right? It's really cool.
And yeah, Peter, again, you get to see them as they really were. Carol, the very relatable comment, clone stamping out an X was so tedious back in the day.
Right.
And I think I was looking at your social media, and if anyone hasn't seen Sarah's Instagram, it is hilarious, and you do just that in some photos.
Yeah, I do. It's like hard, like while this is loading, let's see, let's go to my Instagram. I just posted one. Like this, like where you're sitting with them, he has like her arm around her, and then this is the after. It's like you have like the booths in the background, like her thing. It's just like, you'd have to like crop that in and maybe remove the arm would be like the thing, but now you got it all. So this is like the scratch reduction. Let's see if it did anything. Let's see. Oh yeah. So that's. So it kind of does it
Top
automatically.
left by the window, bottom right.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to be careful with this because sometimes it'll kind of get rid of like watches or like maybe like a necklace. And so like this one I feel like doesn't really have any of those stuff. So it's kind of nice because then it just got rid of all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is super, because I'm like, then I don't have to go into like whatever, and I can just do like the touch-ups like where it kind of missed it over here.
And amazing, it still recognizes things like the patterns on the dress, like that didn't get taken away.
Yeah.
Like it seems quite smart.
So that's what's really cool about that too, because that kind of takes away from like the, you know, remove, where you're like, I just need to get rid of all of this dust. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, then you just kind of continue doing like either like the remove tool, if you don't like it, the Generative Fill. it's really nice. And it's kind of fun. This is usually when I like call my friends up and I just start chatting with them because it's like, you know, it takes a while,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But
My good friend, he's a product photographer largely for a jewelry company, and he'll call me all the time, and he'll be like, I have some time to chat. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Are you editing photos? He'll be like, yeah, I'm editing photos.
Right.
And he's in Lightroom or he's in Photoshop, just going through, talking on the phone.
that is, that's always what I'm doing. I'm like, what are you doing? Photo editing? They're like, oh, okay.
People just know.
Hearing my clicking.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, nothing. But yeah, this remove tool is awesome. It's just like, and I definitely recommend, sometimes the remove tool gets slow. Like let's say you were doing like a layer, like this, separated from like the group.
Okay.
I feel like, at least on my computer, let's see how this works. It can be kind of slow.
Okay.
So see how it's like kind of like, I mean, it's not like too slow, but I think it kind of is confused because it's like, wait, there's a layer underneath.
It's got to dive into it a little bit more. It's got some more work to do.
And then it kind of, I missed it. But it was kind of like smudgy.
Okay.
So I recommend if you are working with a layer, you know, just making it like combining it with the layer below, because sometimes that can be kind of annoying.
Nice.
This is what I found out.
And Peter's got another great tip too. You can download black and white historic photos to retouch and color for
That would be
practice,
so
for enjoyment,
cool.
it sounds like, as well, just for fun.
Oh my gosh, like if you have like a history class and you just like take photos of the history photos, that would be awesome. I actually do have a few photos. Let's see if I have it on here.
Well, I'm probably going to mention a lot today. I am a history teacher, so you
Oh,
asked me,
there
we're
you go.
talking about subjects that I teach as a teacher.
That would
and
be so cool.
I am just thinking about how blown away the students would be to see. That's an engaging lesson, to
Yeah.
take in photos from, I'm Canadian, from Canada, early 1900s.
Right.
Let's take a look and let's colorize these photos. Let's edit these photos. Let's work with these photos.
Let's see what it looks like. Let's see what that does. See, as you can see, I'll just go in like, you know, bit by bit to kind of this. But I'd say let's just start on a new photo too, just so you guys can see more stuff. So this is me and my now husband. This is like 14 years ago when we were like 12. So this is us, and this is our very first photo together. I remember
awesome.
we were like hanging out together, and I really liked him. We're so little. So, but this has always bothered me, like the light things. And I feel like now people have like the Snapchat filters, like old photos now for like Gen Z, I guess. It's like,
They're
it's
so
these
low.
kind of photos,
Yeah.
or like even how it's like really yellow. So I kind of wanted to show like, you know, more like this generation's like old time photos.
Okay.
So like this is mine, and so
I was going to ask you, what was this taken on? Do you remember? Like what
literally,
device?
It was like one of those like slide phones.
Yeah, the LG Rumor?
Yes,
That was my
that
first
one.
cell phone right there.
Literally one of those. And so I'm kind of impressed with like the quality.
Yeah.
Like you can still, like I don't feel like I have to like restore the eyes or the teeth or whatever. So let's go in and let's just like remove this light. Cause
That basement lighting, that basement couch lighting.
for real. I know it looks like I have no eyebrows or like the harsh lines, but yeah, it's really fun. And so then I'll go into kind of like photo restore it and like fix like the yellow light, because I mean this isn't like a Snapchat filter, but I have a ton of requests. Oh, I love that.
Wow.
It has like the spiky hair.
And amazing, you went through the light, you went through the background, you went through his forehead, his
Yeah.
hair, and it knew what to retouch and knew what was what.
Right? Like I didn't have to like separate anything right there. Like this one might be a little tricky, but I think it'll definitely work with my
Even
eye.
gives them some hairstyle options.
Right,
I love that.
I
You get the
know.
3 options and you
I
can always
love
generate
that.
more.
That's a huge game changer too with adding people. Is like if I'll add them in, it's kind of like a harsh line, and
Okay.
I'll just kind of go around here, like kind of like I did, and just like type in hair or something, or more hair, whatever.
Yeah.
And it'll just add more, like, you know, it kind of added like a little like flyaway there,
Yeah.
which kind of makes it more natural.
Mhm.
So I think I kind of like the first one. It kind of made my eye funky. Maybe the second one, but I kind of like the first one for my hair. It kind of makes it still like
Yeah.
I have that light. But then, see, I would just go in and erase this. Da-da.
So are you doing what you mentioned earlier, where like you liked a part of you liked how it generated your hair, but not what it did to your eye.
Yeah.
So you're taking out the eye
So I
part,
take
just
it
keeping
out.
the hair. Okay.
Yeah, and so I like doing that. Sometimes I'll do like 6 or 12 like renditions, and I'll just kind of like look away from my computer, like which one looks better.
Yeah.
And then I'll just kind of combine it there, because sometimes it's like, you know, it doesn't know, and you know, you're the artist, right? So
And just the effect that my brain, my mind, my eyes have had since we started this session is I already forget what you changed.
Right? Isn't that
It makes
awesome?
it look so immediately real, so natural. I forget where the lights were.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool because I'm like, oh, finally, like where it actually just like has our faces. Because I'm
Yeah,
like,
there it is, right?
now like the original kind of looks weird to me. Where I'm like,
the
that-
original looks fake, doesn't it? Like
Right.
the original looks like someone added a light beam or
yeah,
something.
I'm like, okay, now that looks photoshopped.
Yeah.
So, and then this one, let's just see what it would do for, like, even though it's color, we can see what it does with colorized. Let's just take a look.
It's fun to just try these out
Yeah.
too, right?
Because there's other tools to like colorize a photo, but sometimes it kind of does it like what it should be. Let's see. I haven't tried this yet, so this is all our first time seeing
That's
this.
what's fun about this.
Oh, whoops, that was the photo. That was the enhanced face.
Okay.
Okay.
It did sharpen it though.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I feel like it didn't distort it too much, but photo enhance like that kind of sharpened it a little bit where I like it.
Made it look like it's taken on a more recent
yeah.
film camera than a
I
2008.
like, yeah, like it doesn't like since you can see our eyes clearly. I feel like it doesn't distort us too much. But let's go to the colorize. Oh, see, like that. I mean, see, our lips are a little pink, but right, my sweatshirt was blue, his is red, and it kind of makes it like a little bit less yellow. Definitely like pretty harsh. Whereas I feel like here you could probably just go to, whoops, it's loading. You just create a layer down here in like your layers panel and do levels, and you click like the middle eyedropper tool, the gray one, and you're supposed to click something that's like supposedly supposed to be gray, which maybe like this one. Oh yeah, that was bad.
Is that like a starting reference?
Yeah, it's kind of like a starting reference, so it's kind of trying to make everything blue because there's not really like a gray point. This one obviously makes it yellow. And you can like change like the thing. This one would definitely be more like you have to like generate like a selective color to kind of fix it. Selective color is definitely like one of my favorites. Whoops. Because I feel like it kind of does more than like Lightroom stuff. I mean, Lightroom does, but like this is definitely where you can like change it, so you can get rid of like
you
the
have more
reds.
control over it.
Yeah, where you're actually like changing the colors. So see, I like that. Make that a little bit lighter, and then you can go down to the yellows, which is like our huge thing. Oh, see, like I guess my hair was kind of like a little bit on the greener side.
Okay.
But this is like makes it more like brown, a light brown. So pink. So this is kind of just all preference, like what you want. So technically, I guess getting rid of the yellow is like a little bit pink.
But it's amazing you have so many options.
Yeah, it is cool because like you can just kind of do what you want. Like if you look at the original again, doesn't look like too different, but definitely less like pink in the face.
Yes.
I feel like more natural.
And
Maybe,
those
like,
light beams being out of the way in particular, that's definitely the big notice.
Yeah, and then you can like kind of change like the lighting a little bit so it's not as harsh. Oh yeah, see here's where like the pink is. So you just kind of play around with this and figure it out. But yeah, that's so fun.
I need to dive into I want to dive into so many old photos. And,
Right, like, yeah, how many photos you have when, like, Snapchat was a thing,
Right.
or, like, whatever, it's, like, all your, like, I swear, all my, like, graduation photos are, like, on Snapchat. I'm like, why did I do that? But,
for me, I think it's even going back to MySpace.
yeah, right.
I don't know.
That was
MSN profile pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, or even, like, yeah, the Facebook filter photos, stuff like that.
Or, like, super grainy webcam photos.
Yeah. This reminds me, actually, I totally forgot. We're going to go back to this photo. I told you guys I was going to change the eyes, which is also neuro filters.
Oh, yes.
So I'm jumping around, but.
No, but I actually really love how you have shown so many different types of photos. You've shown, more recent, right? You've shown family memories. This is amazing to see.
Yeah.
Kane liking the shout out to MySpace.
Right. MySpace was one I have never used, so I wouldn't know about that. So this one, you go to Smart Portrait. And right, see they have skin smoothing, makeup transfer, and all these other things, super zoom, depth blur. Okay, so that's loaded. So I already can pick up the faces.
Right.
Unfortunately, I've tried doing it on a dog. Pets don't really work.
Oh, really?
Only on humans so far.
Maybe it's like the facial structure.
Yeah, maybe it's a certain type of dog too. So yeah, maybe it's just that. So let's just go to him.
Don't try it on those
first.
pugs.
Right. I know, right.
So what are you looking to do with the eyes here?
So here you have like happiness, facial age, hair thickness, and eye direction. So it's literally just like right to left looking at the photo. So I want him to look more right. So let's just do this up to like 25. And then it's just loading like down here.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see what it does as it's processing.
I love that it's a slider bar and that
Yeah.
you can just like someone who hasn't used this before, right? That just the fact that it's a slider, I love how it's broken down into categories. I can understand happiness, right?
Yeah.
Facial age, hair thickness.
Oh, see, like, this is what it did. It's kind of hard to tell about the before. Glasses are a little bit hard sometimes, but you could probably just erase that. And like, look, he's looking. We could probably make him look
Yeah.
a little bit further. Let's go to 35. But the fact that he's like actually like looking
It's
now,
it's right
where
on.
it kind of
Yep.
feels maybe more personal. And this was probably more for stuff if it's like a kid is looking away from the camera. Like this is kind of cute how they're both looking at the camera or whatever.
Yeah.
But oh look.
So is what you did, he was looking towards the left, so
Yeah.
you moved the slider bar to the right and it kind of corrected it?
Yeah,
Very
so
cool.
then moves to the right. And so let's do her. And this is a really good shot. Sometimes it's kind of hard, like if their eyes are really closed, but also you could go into liquify, which is on like the filters panel. Let's see if you, oh, there we go, liquify. And you can open eyes, make people smile more, change
wow.
face shape, kind of stuff like that. Oh, see? Oh, that one did it really well. How
Yeah.
she's like now, like even it changes like the little highlight in her eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. So it changes the glasses definitely a bit, but what I would do is I would just click OK, and then I would kind of like erase around the glasses part.
Just returning some of the original glasses
Yeah.
that we're doing? Yeah.
So and maybe I would like kind of like copy the glasses because it is a little bit down. Oh, see, it even kind of like changes their ear a little bit, like trying to change like their head shape.
But again, we're hyper zoomed in right here,
Yeah.
right? Like I think, again, me thinking of someone who is just looking to see this photo like this, they're not going to be like, oh, I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
it's really hard to notice. This is
Yeah.
more like me just kind of like, oh, let's make it the most like the original, and so they don't feel like even like her, like I'm erasing, but it barely changed anything. So it's super cool.
Oh, it's a beautiful photo now. Well, it already was.
Yeah,
But that's
but it is kind of cool how like they're both looking. And I think
Yeah.
let's see.
And
what
you
I
said these
did-
are your great grandparents?
Yeah, this is what I had before. I liked how his eyes turned out more. They're more towards the camera, but yeah, these are my great grandparents. So I have no idea when they passed away, but before I was born probably. So, but yeah, let's see.
I love seeing the before and after. It really just does show what
Right.
you've done. Yeah.
That's like the reward, right? You're like, have I even been doing anything this whole time? Then you're like, whoa, like this is the before. So these are my grandparents. They're so cute. So this is a really cool photo because I feel like all her photos, right, are black and white.
Yes.
Like when she passed away, it was just like we're looking at all of them. So this one's really cool. This was like the original, right?
Okay.
Photo. My mom was just, snapping a photo,
Yep.
sending it to me. So I feel like since this is yellow, right, because this is real color, this is real life, I kind of cropped it in. That way it kind of like wouldn't catch it. Because like when I want to colorize this, it definitely picks up on that.
Okay,
So
that's a
that
good
way you don't
point.
have to like go in and use like the color replacement tool. Like that's fine, but for some reason I just like it like where it does it the most as possible, right? So I can actually figure out like what color was she wearing, and I feel like I've seen on social media people can like guess. It's like a color theory thing where they like know they're like, oh, that's blue or that's yellow.
Really?
I don't know how to do it, but I feel like it's like graphic designers where they're like, or they study color theory. So I think that's pretty cool if you're like really into color theory that you can kind of like know, and so you can literally just like repaint it.
Can we see if the audience wants to guess what color the
Yeah.
dress is going to be?
You guys should guess.
What do you think when we recolorize it? Or when we colorize it, what color do you think Sarah's grandmother's dress will be?
That's
I'm gonna go like a sky blue.
That's what I was thinking too. Like I just feel like the blue and then like the white dots.
Yep,
That's my thought.
that's what I would think. It's outside.
right.
Could be summer.
And like his shirt is probably white.
Okay.
I would guess, but who knows? Pants are probably like a khaki brown. Ooh, the car in the background.
That style's back, by the way.
Yeah, for sure it is.
Robert's saying green.
I love it. Like they just look so stylish. They're so cute together. But
Pink. A pinkish hue.
pinkish hue on the cheek. Yeah. But yeah, the car too. I want to say like red, but it probably is not going to be that color.
And I think
Pinkish
the
hue,
car will
pink,
also pop a
green.
lot more too when we colorize it.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Green. Okay, let's see.
Let's
do
see.
colorize. And it just loads. Okay, it came out a little yellow, but if you kind of look, her skin really matches it.
Yes.
And so let's do okay. I did this a little bit before so we could kind of see. Let's see. So this is what I did before, like as you can see, like how it just looks almost like green yellow. Her face looks like okay in her hair. And then this is what I came up with. a little bit, so it's like a brown car. His pants are still like a little bit weird, but her dress is definitely, I think, yellow.
Yes. Yeah.
Because even like it could differentiate like the skin, which I think is like really cool. But yeah, but I think the pants look a little bit, I feel like they're probably supposed to be like this color. So again, I would just, copy that layer, because always be careful with Photoshop. I always make a ton of layers and then just go in. But yeah, it even got like the hair, it got the lips. So.
And the ability to like not blend the hair into the background. There's like trees behind them, right? And it was able to, I can very distinctly see where their hair is and where the tree is as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So it got like some of the green in the trees. And sometimes like when you're looking outside, that's another thing about color theory, is like sometimes like you think a tree is green, but it's really like the color blue. Like with, people that paint, you're like, oh no, you actually have to use this color because there's like shadows and lighting.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of stuff about that, but I always just do like the basic colors. But yeah, like see how just like a slight green? I love that. Like how it just automatically does it.
And then seeing it all come together too as you code it, really see it come out.
Yeah, and see like they look like a little bit orange, which I think it just does that as like kind of to like overcorrect. So again, like what I would do is I would just duplicate a layer, Control J, and like maybe. Let's see if like this. See, that one's like a little bit too yellow. I'd almost like, let's do like the highlight, and you can kind of like just color it, but maybe not the eyes. Let's erase that. And then just change the opacity, just like a little bit. So see, I feel like that's a little bit like natural. It's so subtle, but like it feels like a little bit more natural to me.
Mm-hmm.
So see, and her hair kind of looks a little purple. You can kind of like tell like the difference. I guess I should combine those layers.
I love how you show the different like options and access points too, right? Someone might use the colorize and just love that, and maybe that's their ability they can do, but it just shows how like using all the tools, using as many tools as you want, you can really get more out of it too.
Yeah, and it is because like, oh, see, like their hair was kind of the same, and now you can kind of tell like, oh, this was like pretty blue. But right, it is kind of like they are outside, right? It's a blue sky, so it kind of makes sense like why it would be just a little bit blue.
Yep.
And see, like this one is just a little bit too brown. And so we're just like change that, right? So it's just like a little bit less than that. But yeah, I love that just because it's like, I'm like, that is what they look like. That was like her hair color. That was like that type of brown. Her skin definitely looked, a little bit pale. And maybe that's where I would go into like to another one of like my selective color and kind of play around like with the skin tone.
Okay.
So if you want to play around with that and not like change the whole thing, what I would do is go Control I, which inverts it, and then you go into the brush tool, and then you can kind of like brush over their skin. Or like, let's see, like his is like really, let's do something more where you can tell. Go into like the yellows.
And Robert pointing out that like scanning in photos really helps too.
Yes.
I like how you're also showing though, like you said, you asked your mom to just go take photos of pictures.
Yeah.
And it shows how you can really work with those as well.
Yeah. Yeah, like you really can't, like with how good photos are, like with just like an iPhone or an Android, like you really don't even have to like sometimes I'm like, oh, I liked the photo of the photo better.
Right,
sometimes
right.
the scan photo, I'm like, that's not the best scanner.
I also think about if I were to ask my mom to do the same, like, hey, can you get some old photos? I don't think she would know how to scan them in.
Yeah.
So she would do the same thing. She would take photos of the photos and send them, and it's awesome. You can see like the glare disappearing from the light above when the photo was taken, or the frame.
Yeah, it's really cool. So this I just like changed like their arms a little bit. So just with like a little bit selective color, it can make it look a little bit more natural than just like that. Like the pants, I feel like would probably work a little bit better than trying to go in with the color replacement tool. Like actually the white is painting on it and black is like erasing.
Okay.
So this is mostly yellow. So we can, oh, whoops, I forgot to invert it. Let's invert it and then paint it. Inverting just helps it so you have like more control, so it's not like the whole photo. So this is where I would probably use more masking kind of thing. Let's see. Oh, oops, I totally did that wrong. I erased it first and then I inverted it. Okay, here you can kind of see like your history.
Okay.
So let's just go
we
to
want to
like,
go back to where?
let's just go back. There we go. And then selective color. Invert it first, because then you'll fall into my problem that I have. I make sure it's on white.
And you're working with the pants now.
Yeah, the pants, so they're not as yellow. And so you can kind of see on my layer panel how it shows the pants.
Oh, yes.
So you can kind of tell if it's working or not. And then.
Well, sometimes the changes are so subtle until you do that,
Yeah.
you can really see it. So it's nice to be able to see what you have applied it to or what you've changed.
Yeah. Yeah, because then too, like, if you do something really dramatic, you can kind of see, like, where I'm missing. So, like, right here. So then you can just, like, still add to it. And then if, like, you go over, you just hit X, and it switches it, like, right here.
Yep.
And then you just paint it over. But we don't want to do it that. But see, that makes it, definitely more, like, khaki. Like I said, I probably would have, like, edited it first. But, like, if you kind of like that look, too, like the ripped little things, you can leave it like that. But, see, that already looks way better.
Which I think is important, too. Some of that gives a lot of charm to the old photo, right?
Yeah.
It's all up to preference. Some people maybe just want it colorized. Some people want it completely done over and fixed up, which you've shown us all the options of today. You've shown us how to patch them up when there's rips and tears and
so, like,
spaghetti sauce.
They can do all this stuff. And I always ask them, like, do you want me to colorize it, fix it? Do you want all three? And I always give them different versions. And I think that's why, too, I always edit the black and white first, because then I can give them black and white version, like the original, and then a colorized version. So I think that's kind of cool for people to, like, see, like, to keep both, you know, like, oh, okay, this was really in black and white, but now I have something cool.
So in terms of your workflow for something like that, if we go back to the picture of the family where it was, you know, there was like, the picture was quite distressed, there was like damage to the photo, what would you do first? Like if you want to do the full, I'm gonna use the word makeover for a photo like this, which had, like, it had rips in it beforehand, would you handle all of that first and then do the colorization?
Yeah. So I would handle all first, and I feel like I used to, I would almost just, like, edit it as is, like, almost kind of, like, leave these like, I would color replace this one because this is, like, a little yellow. So I would, like, fix this, but then, like, when I'm all done, I would almost give, like, 3 versions. So I would fix all this, fix all the color, and then go into neurofilters again. Neurofilters. And kind of do, like, a little, like, upscale photo. So let's go to photo ratio. So not really enhanced face, because sometimes I'm like, I don't know them. So I'm like, if it makes it too, like, distorted, I won't do it. But this one, like, their eyes, like, if their eyes are looking at the camera, I feel like it does it pretty well. And it's loading a little bit. So I'll kind of enhance it, and that way it kind of makes it a little bit sharper.
Okay.
Right, because especially since, like, the background, it gets, like, so hazy right here, and probably because there's, like, that light right there. Whereas here, it's a lot more clear.
And again, this one being a photo of a photo, right?
Yeah.
As well.
So yeah, usually I'll, like, fix it all as is, but then I'll kind of enhance it and do, like, the photo enhancement, because I feel like it kind of makes it a little bit more, like, contrasty, like, deeper hues, you know, like a richer dark, where, like, maybe this won't be in the way. Sometimes it does take a while, probably because I have so many tabs open. but that's, like, kind of, like, what I would do, just to kind of, like, show, like, some people like just, like, the original photo, like, just remove all the marks and I just want it as is. But some people are like, oh, can you, like, enhance it? Oh, see, like, so you can't really tell the difference. But then when I click the before, oh, that is really subtle. But, like, if you look at her eyes, let's see, it does make it, like, way softer. Like, and it's kind of like, this one looks like a little bit too big, but it's better than, like, you can actually kind of see it from far away. You're like, oh, that looks
and that's
like
really what the photo's
cleaner.
all about, right?
Yeah.
We have the ability to hyper zoom in on the computer, but
I love, even, like, the baby's eyes, like, how I outlined it more, like, even the nose, it actually has, like, a little line right here. So I always, like, kind of like stuff like that.
Yeah, just the ability to see more of what's going on in the photo,
Yeah.
right? Just because of what you've done to it.
Yeah.
I feel like the stuff you had to restore was so distracting beforehand, like the rips across it, where it was difficult to make out what it was, and now you can clearly see.
And now it's like, oh, yeah, the little family.
Yeah.
It's just, like, so cute. Because, too, like, you know, they probably, like, posed for this photo. It was probably on just, you know, you take one, whereas now, you know, you can take, like, a billion photos. So it's like, this really is the only photo that they have.
I think we're spoiled nowadays, right? I go through my camera roll and I have 50 photos, and I don't want to look through all of them. I'm not going to choose any of them now, right?
Right, yeah. I'm like, I have so many photos now where I'm like 4 years ago, I'm like, what am I going to do with these photos? And you're always like, oh, when I have kids. But I'm like, my kids aren't going to want to, like, scroll through 50,000 photos of me. Like, it's pretty
Here's
funny.
tons of selfies.
Right.
Cool.
So this is pretty cool. I want to see what I did beforehand. So the after, I kind of, like, it almost looks like I missed kind of like the background.
Okay.
But it does look like, let's see, let's get rid of that. Oh, I did follow the hand line a little bit more. I guess you guys can't see me pointing, like right here.
Okay.
But I kind of like what this does. It makes it more like natural. Like
Yes.
you can kind of see the curve of the hand more. That one looks a little better. This one's kind of cool how it like added to the, the swaddling blanket or whatever. But I think I like this one most overall. The background is still a little bit funky. And so this is like where I would either like clone stamp because this is where it's sharper. Or here is a fun trick for old schooler Photoshoppers that sometimes I still like to use if like there is a certain part in the background I like to use. So you either right click and it's content aware fill, or you just go into editing, edit, content aware fill. And then let's see. Oh, it's a little slow. Oh, that's it. So, right, you can kind of, this is like what it's making up. It's definitely picking up the blanket a lot, so you can kind of just subtract what you don't want. You can kind of see editing, so it's still trying to pick up that blanket. So I would just like erase all of the people.
So we want like the background, the leaves, so it picks up more leaves and adds in more leaves.
Right, and it's like still trying to pick up like this one spot. So I'm like, no, stop. Like, get a little bit closer. Sometimes it's like accurate where I feel like I don't have to like change anything. And see, sometimes it's like there's such a harsh line right here.
Okay.
But like I do kind of like the blending in right here.
And you can always work with that too, right?
Yeah, and so then I always make it as like a new layer, right? And so maybe I would have wanted to like mask this area because it kind of bled just like a little bit over. But you can, move it just like a little bit. And then even what I would probably do is like blur it because it is still blurry. So go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and then you can kind of see it helps like it blend up there.
Yeah, it
just
looks
like
a little bit more natural
more.
for this photo.
And so then I would just go down here and just kind of like fix it up. So another favorite tool is the patch tool, which is just like where your spot healing tools are. And you can just like grab it and move it over, which is, see.
Oh, so we're taking that section you selected and we're patching it over?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, exactly. Patch it over. So, and I kind of like it too, how it's making it darker. Because see, like this definitely looks like a bush. And so there's only so much you could pull from this side. But it's definitely like, right, like there would be like a shadow right there. And I feel like once we've gotten like down here, this is where I would do like Generative Fill. Which actually, this is probably the grass. Let's just try typing in something now. Bush.
Yeah, so previously we've just been letting it, you've been leaving the prompt empty and letting it generate on its own. This time you typed bush.
Bush, let's see what it does. And I kind of missed the part right there. But see, I like it because it's like lighter up here, and then it gets darker, kind of blends in more. Let's see, it looks like it's a bag. That's interesting, a backpack. So see, I think maybe there's like something too, like where there's like a double meaning too.
Yeah, it
right?
could, yeah.
Like a well,
the fabric,
that'd be kind of really weird. So then I guess you could just do like, let's just see what it would do without. Yeah, sometimes it's random or sometimes it's like, oh, it did a bush. Like the background we have at the start of the video, that was all using Generative Fill, and I just did small flowers, and it just did different kind of colors. So this is trying, oh, there we go. That one's actually pretty good. It's like a little bit different than below.
Yeah, that's no prompt. That's just letting it do its thing.
So that's like a little, but I mean, it's still kind of, I feel like it's trying to match like the old photo, which is like kind of like what we don't want. So let's just try doing the whole thing now. A good word I like to use too is like greenery because I feel like that's like a broad enough term where it's like trees, bushes, grass. So like, let's just see what it does.
Give us what you got. Exactly.
Yeah. This is a lot of times I do when like the background is like an archway for a wedding arch. I'm like greenery and roses kind of thing. And it just knows that word way better than I think like leaves. I'll see. I had a feeling. I was like, I wonder if it'll do color, which is super
funny. Give us
funny.
some moss. I like those ones. Those are pretty nice.
Those ones are pretty cool. And if you did like that, you could honestly just go to image, adjustment, and then black and white.
And you're making it not green. Yeah.
Yeah. And this, like, now you can see like the true black and white and for how like, cyan this is or whatever. So you can change it right there. But it's pretty good like if you like changed it.
And again, you're going to know these. You're going to look for these.
Yeah.
But you give this to a relative, they're going to just, I think, be in awe and just amazed and
they're gonna
so
be
grateful for something like this.
I feel like a lot of people, too, they like look at the original like, wait, was that there before?
Yeah.
They're kind of like, wait. So this is kind of cool, too. Like, that's what I did for this one. I think the client is I gave them like a more true black and white photo.
Okay.
So if we like went to this layer and made it actually black and white, I'll see. Like to me, like that looks a lot better. Like it's not like, is it
Yes.
red? Is it yellow? So I always like doing stuff like that too, especially because it makes the black a lot better. Oh, that looks so pretty. And then this matches so much more.
Look at that.
And this is like, or I'm like, oh, this is kind of like a little clear too much, so I would just blur it again. And I like up here filters. It always remembers what you do. So Gaussian blur, I just will do the same thing again.
You don't have to
Just
pop
like
through a
that.
menu to get through anything
Yeah.
else.
So it kind of remembers, especially if you're doing the camera raw filter, like an overall filter, you could do it to like tons of different photos. The neuro filters, if you just wanted a quick colorization, all you have to do is filter neuro filters again. So that's kind of cool how it does that.
I love the just like start to finish, the before and after of all of this.
I love that. And I feel like making it black and white kind of helped already. Like, oh, like maybe this could be like a shadow, right? Instead of.
It's no longer spaghetti sauce.
Yeah.
What I'm calling spaghetti sauce, that's entirely
It probably
created
was.
by me.
Right. I'm like, I have so many old photos from like my childhood too that are just like, there's definitely spaghetti sauce
Yeah,
on them.
I got that entirely from my childhood photo of my brother and my sister and I, and it's just like my sister in the picture is just covered in spaghetti sauce.
Right. That's so funny.
We have about 5 minutes, but if we had more time, maybe I'd pull that one up and we could remove the spaghetti sauce.
That'd be fun actually if I asked you like, send me like your favorite like old photo of like you as a kid.
Yeah.
But I tried looking for some when I was a kid, but they were almost too clean. I was like, well, this wouldn't be very fun.
But I do love how you showed a more recent option too,
Yeah.
right? And it is very cool to see that what can be done. Again, when you see the before and after, what was removed, what was taken away, there are things that can be corrected to really just make that the memory that people are going to want it to be.
Right, it is. I feel like it's just like, this is what I did earlier. This is kind of like the levels photo.
Okay.
So this is like the neuro filter is kind of like a weird vibe, but I'm like, that is like our hair color, like a very light blonde. But this was just with the levels layer, just like by clicking this over here. And I feel like that was way better than like the yellow. And so I feel like that's super useful for people today that it's like.
It was something about those cameras then, just like the yellow effect.
Yeah,
that
they
it
just
applied
love
to-
that. I don't
Really
know
picked up
why.
on the room lighting.
It's just like something about it. And so I'm like, I love that because I feel like, you know, I'm either correcting the yellow or making black and white photos color. So it's super fun to do.
Yeah, I think, can we see just the workflows you did? Like maybe the before and after of the ones you did today?
Yeah, let's do it.
Maybe just
So
in case
here
anybody
is
popped
the
in late so we
before.
can really see. Look at that.
Before, and this was like, I haven't done very much editing. Like I would definitely go into more detail, but I didn't want to like bore you guys of like click, 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 right? But like the fact that we got rid of like that huge crack and like this, the light glare is huge.
Amazing,
because
yeah.
I feel like if, you know, we've all tried taking a photo of a photo, like, okay, can't get the glare in there. Like it's like,
I struggle with that all the time.
It's like, yeah, I
Doesn't
still.
matter how good the photo is beforehand.
Here's this one where we didn't really fix anything. We just changed the color. So like a weird back photo, and now it's like actually colorful. You got the blue sky in there. I'd probably like extend this photo so you don't see like the, you know, the background or whatever. We have this photo, which now I love. I've never actually edited this photo, but now I actually have something where it's not just like vampire lights.
Yeah.
So
I love what it did to the hair too. Like when it generated his hair. Like it really just, and it gave some options too. You picked the one you liked.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
That's cool. And then we have this one, my great grandparents, which just would be cool. Oh, you can see the little blue that I haven't fixed yet. But right there looking away, it's like, oh, it looks so cool, like in color, like their actual skin tones. Oh, that's pretty.
And again, this one was taken in a picture frame beforehand, right?
Picture frame. So
just
yeah,
from above.
I would still fix that glare again too if we, you know, I just wanted to show you guys everything, but you know, just select that or even darken it or even, you know, taking the clone stamp and just.
No,
you know,
we all
whatever,
appreciate
yeah,
seeing it's
so.
like all these different workflows. It's so
Yeah.
cool to see. And like you said, if you wanted to, you could go through and actually
Yeah, it's kind of like where
fine-tune
like
one
your
photo.
personal preferences is like what you can do like more to it. So that's why I kind of wanted to show everything so that, you know, if you guys want to try something, it's like, oh, okay, I know what to do.
But it's also amazing how you got through so many photos
Yeah.
in just an hour, a little bit under an hour. I'm so
I know
impressed.
it's cool. Like now that I have all these photos that I can send to my family, you know, it's awesome.
Would that have ever been something you thought you could do in 55 minutes?
No, honestly, definitely not. Like it was definitely set aside time. Like I just remember editing these 3 photos and literally it was just like dust. And
Yeah.
it took me
Speck
like
by
2
speck.
days to like do those 3 photos. And now I'm like, okay, this is way easier. So it's super nice.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Thank you to everybody in the audience. We have an action-packed day, so stay tuned. We'll be on to our next stream very soon in 5 minutes.
Ciao.
So we're going to go through in Photoshop and show you basically how something like this is actually made. So we have a composite image that I did. There's actually 15 different photos that are used to create this underwater image here. We're going to start off by turning these layers off at the very top and opening up our background layer. We can see right down here on the very bottom, we're starting off with a single photograph, and this is what makes up like the background of our image. And this is very simple, just using basically curves adjustment layers. And I'm able to make areas brighter and areas darker. This rock here, we've got one on the left and then one on the right there. So this is actually the original photograph that makes up the ceiling of the cave. So we're going to turn this image of the coral here, and then we have a stingray. Basically, when you think about like layers and groups and organization, things that are farther away from the viewer should be lower in the layers, and things that are closer should be higher up. We have a little bit more light, and that's going to be behind our subject. And then let's go ahead and make our subject visible. So you can see each of these is just layer by layer. So as we can see, we're in this group. You can see this is the original photograph that we're working with. And then all of these different layers that are clipped to that subject. And we can see this is the color of the original photograph. And I'm going to hold Shift and disable that layer mask. So we can see within this composite is the original photo. So these layers just stack on top of the original photograph. Next, we have our midground. We'll go ahead and turn that on. And that is just made up of these rocks here up on the top. We have all these fish are cut out from the background, and that kind of creates our composition. Next, we're going to turn on our foreground. We have like an additional coral that we've added here in the foreground. We have some fish here. So we can see the objects closer to the camera are going to be the darkest, and farthest from the camera are going to be the lightest. So we're going to go ahead and work through like one of these examples. So I want to take this image here. We're going to take this and actually place it into our scene. We're going to start with our move tool up here on the top left, and we're going to click and drag from one image to another. So let's go ahead and bring it to the very top to start with. First thing I want to do is basically start to cut out this coral from the background. We're going to use the magic wand tool right over here and click right here, and it's going to select similar colors. I'm going to hold Shift and click a couple more times, and this is just going to help add to my selection. What we're doing is actually selecting the opposite of each individual fish. I'm selecting the background, and then I can invert my selection very easily. Click here on your layer mask, and click right here in your contextual taskbar and go to Invert Mask. Pretty good job cutting all that stuff out of its background. We're going to hit L for the lasso tool, and I'm just going to make a rough selection right around this area here. And I'm going to click on my layer mask, and I'm going to go to Edit, to Fill, and then we're just going to say to fill this with black. Black on the layer mask means invisible, and white means visible. I have my layer, and I have my layer mask. We're not in any way deleting any part of the original photograph. We're simply hiding what we don't want with the layer mask. I'll hit Control or Command T. We're going to right click and go to where it says flip horizontal at the very bottom. And then it's going to flip it to the other side. And then if I wanted to, I could put it down here. So let's go ahead and put this in the foreground here. I'm just going to put this right above our fish on the right hand side. I'm going to group this with itself, and we're just going to call this new coral. So always do the light first and then do the color. So let's go ahead and show you guys how to do the lighting. So we're going to go to Layer, down to New Adjustment Layer here, and we're going to go to Levels. And we're going to go ahead and check that. That's going to make sure that this Levels Adjustment Layer is only going to affect the layer underneath it. It's going to be very easy for me to match. Look, I can just bring this a little bit darker. There we go. Kind of push my midtones up a little bit and bring the lights a little bit darker. So if I unclip it, you can see it affects my entire image. But as soon as I clip this again, it's just going to be that area of the photograph. So let's go to Layer, down to New Adjustment Layer, and we're going to go over to where it says Color Balance. I want to make sure that's checked because we want to create a clipping mask there. So we'll hit OK, and it has this little down arrow letting us know it's clipped, and all of these are pointing down to the layer that it actually affects. So I'm going to take our midtones. We're just going to push them towards cyan a little bit and towards blue a little bit. So I'm going to take my highlights. We'll just push those a little bit, maybe take a little bit of blue out of the highlights, and we'll work with our shadows. We have a layer mask, a levels adjustment layer, and a color balance adjustment layer. And that is all you need to get your images to blend together so you can create fantastic composites just like this.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Hello and welcome to Adobe Live. We are here today with Lucas O'Keefe. So happy to have you here. And we have a ton of friends already in the chat. So lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for being here. Cody Bear for our mod. Also Robert, Lisa, Omar. Lovely to see y'all in the chat. Please chime off where you're coming from and what kind of work you do, because today we are going to be working in video. And I'm super excited for this because it kind of applies to a lot of realms now. Like social media requires short form content in order to work, basically. So Lucas, can you tell us a bit about who you are and what we're going to be doing today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned this in the last session. I will probably say this a lot, but I am an elementary school teacher, first and foremost, just from Ontario, Canada, just outside of Toronto. But I'm also a content creator who helps other content creators in how to create content that stands out and gets them noticed, whether it's for their personal brand or their small business. And I like to hop back and forth between that hat and my teacher hat. And sometimes, stack them on there. I think that was one of my favorite children's stories, like the man with a bunch of hats.
Yes, wait, was that, there was something about the hat in Curious George that made me think of that.
There we go. Yeah, a lot of
man
hat
in the yellow hat. There you go.
But currently one of my big projects I'm doing is I have a YouTube channel called The Digital Classroom Experience, where I just create educational lesson style videos for teachers to show their students in the classroom. I really think about the lessons and the resources I wish I had as a teacher.
Definitely.
And create them for my colleagues and coworkers. So I've been growing that YouTube channel just for the past few months. It has finally just hit monetization, which I'm very excited about.
We love that. Congratulations.
And getting those 3,000 watch hours.
It's a long time.
Yeah,
right?
I never thought that would have been the big obstacle compared to the subscriber count, which I hit quite quickly.
Love that.
So
congratulations for subscribers and watch time.
Thank you so much. Thanks. So many of the tips I'll be sharing today and just how I've got my content noticed are going to really stand out, and I'll be using Adobe Express for it. So what I would like to do for our first workflow is we are going to actually just be taking a long form video. So again, my YouTube channel, it's all long form content, but as you mentioned, video has just found its way into so much social media in the world we live in now. And it is, like I'm showing on screen here, it is this 1080 by 1920 vertical video.
We know.
TikTok, right? YouTube Shorts, which is what we'll be working with. Instagram Reels. I believe Snapchat has its own variation of the swipeable video.
That's the one that I haven't ever done.
Yeah, me neither.
Like, where's Snapchat at?
But again, speaking of wearing many hats, that's a lot of social media platforms. That's a lot of ways to share your content.
For sure.
And my goal here is I want to be able to take my longer form landscape style content, which are usually about 5-minute long videos, introducing a geography or history concept for teachers to show their students. We call it a minds on, or a hook for the lesson. It just says, here's what this lesson might be about. Might be about. I want to turn it into a reel or a YouTube short, something quick that I can show up on that feed to then push someone to the overall channel where they want to watch the longer videos.
Love that.
So I'm going to go ahead and put in, I have a few things. I got my long form video, and we'll put that in there. And as we can see, that's not going to grab anyone's attention on the feed because that is.
Stop immediately. Oh my gosh, what is this? I need to know.
Stop that scroll. Let me look a little bit closer to see what's going on there. the blank space above and below. Although I have seen some videos like this that do well. I want to actually make it more immersive. I want to fill it in there. So I will actually just briefly play it, just so people can see what we're dealing with here.
We get to put on the
and
headphones.
We're going to put these headphones on early. I think I would forget to put them on otherwise. So we're putting them on early. And I'm trying to be conscious of our listeners that it might be a little loud for them. So I'm going to just turn it down a bit and then we'll see. But this is just my typical video. I won't play the whole thing.
Human settlement,
can you hear it
from the
okay?
early days of civilization to the modern era, has dramatically affected the environment.
So that's me.
Every time we
I just put some stock footage, some B-roll footage over my voiceover of the concept. Not very engaging. We want to make it a little bit more engaging. So right away, I'm going to put that video into the full screen, and I just click fill video or fit video. And it does that, which is already looking nice
Human settlement,
as we go through.
from the early days of civilization to the modern era, has dramatically affected the environment. Every time we build a home, pave a road, or establish a city, we are altering the natural landscape.
So the topic here is from the curriculum, the Ontario Geography curriculum. This is a lesson on how human settlement affects the environment, right? So I want to, and very important with Earth Day coming up as well, and we'll incorporate that too.
Yay! Every day is Earth Day.
Every day is Earth Day. But I want to shrink this into a YouTube short. It's 2 minutes 40 seconds. To my understanding, a YouTube short can only be 60 seconds. They're actually, I find, lagging behind the other, like TikTok, you can have like I think they were testing, like a super long one, very long. Instagram Reels, I think, is like 90 seconds, and they're also testing 3 minutes from last I heard. YouTube Shorts, I need it to be under 60. So I don't want to share this full clip. Instead, I want to share the intro where I talk about human settlement. And then this is really about 4 to 5 concepts. I talk about deforestation, right? I talk about pollution. And you can see not all of them have been cropped in perfectly. So I want to find the ones that can, and I want to use that. I could do some things like move it around. But we also talk about, water usage. We talk about wetlands. We talk about overpopulation of cities. I want to focus, I'm the Canadian here, I want to focus on rural agriculture usage and how that can sometimes hurt the environment as well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and I want to play that first clip just to find the intro.
Human settlement, from the early days of civilization to the modern era, has dramatically affected the environment. Every time we build a home, pave a road, or establish a city, we are altering the natural landscape.
So I want that. That's my intro. That talks about what I'm talking about.
For sure.
And that's good. So I want to end after. We are altering the natural landscape.
The natural landscape.
There we go.
Strong intro.
Strong intro, right? It's a
Got
hook.
'em.
Now, if I were really appealing to the TikTok world, maybe I'd have elements flying all over the screen and whatnot.
A bee is actually talking to you instead of Lucas.
We're getting to that.
No,
Sneak
really?
peek. We are getting, maybe not a bee, but we are getting to that. So just a heads up.
It's gonna be like
Spoiler
the
alert.
Cheerios.
So what I did, I just split it. So now I have just this clip I want for my intro.
Perfect.
People
Wait,
are-
how did you split it?
So I just right click anywhere and I can split right there.
Easy peasy.
It's very drag and drop. I can see scene by scene what I'm dealing with. I can add scenes in. I can add transitions. And people are gonna probably get sick of me playing this over and over again. But here, just to show where it cuts.
Pave a road or establish a city, we are altering the natural landscape.
There we go. So I like that. That's what we want. There's our cut.
Nice.
And maybe I'll make it a little bit longer.
Just to make sure it's not like cutting you off in the middle of a word at all, right?
We are altering the natural landscape.
There we go. And then again, I don't want to have all this in here. This is just talking about like forestation and things like that. I want instead a different focus on some other parts. I want to talk about urbanization and rural agriculture. So maybe I'll split it here. Maybe I can see what that looks like. And let me just take a quick look, because I have some other options too about just what the video might look like. So we can pop in and we can see like that didn't get cropped. I don't want to have that in there, right?
Yeah.
Whereas instead, if I have something,
Invasive species, often as a
Invasive
result of human
species.
movement.
let's have instead, here we go. Let's get into right after light pollution.
Agricultural expansion in Canada.
We want agriculture expansion in Canada.
Ecosystems.
There we go.
Very nice.
I want that one.
So yeah, the sweeping shots that are just beautifully cropped, even when they're, going from a wide, all this real estate to going to this, it's actually amazing that your footage is looking so good.
And I can very quickly just drag very slowly. I like to take it as slow as I want, just for when it transitions out of there. Let's go with that. Again, like you said, I'm not losing anything. I want to just have it there. And that's not part of my short anymore. So there we go. I want just...
Human settlement, from the early days of civilization to the modern era, has dramatically affected the environment. Every time we build a home, pave a road, or establish a city, we are altering the natural landscape. Agricultural expansion in Canada has led to significant environmental changes,
Boom.
especially in the prairie provinces. Once covered with vast natural grasslands, much of this region has been converted into farmland to bolster the nation's agricultural output.
So I can end it there. I can keep playing.
While this has proven economically beneficial, it's also resulted in habitat loss and altered the native ecosystems, making them more vulnerable to pests and diseases.
So if I want to cut it there, I know I kind of split it there. in the wrong
It
spot
looks
earlier.
like you made it for short form content already.
But it's right there,
like,
right?
ready to go.
There's my short. There's my video right there.
Woo.
And I already just have it kind of pieced together. The really cool thing, if I wanted to, like let's say I didn't like how this was in frame, I wanted it a little bit different. I could again just slide it over to where it fades out. I can split it here. And maybe I can put a different video clip over top, right?
Oh,
I can
okay.
go ahead and say like agriculture. Do you ever find you spell wrong when you're like
Always.
demoing?
Always, every single time, whether somebody's watching or not.
So maybe I can put something like this up there. Oh, I put images. I want video.
And please, everybody in the chat, feel free to drop some questions for Lucas if you have them. We do have one from Omar, whenever you're ready.
Yes, yeah, let's go for it.
Excellent. Omar is asking, what if you want to add frame templates to the video?
So I like to, just in terms of adding like elements and templates to it in Adobe Express, it's very easy to be able to quickly pop stuff over top, put in some overlays. Like I've done here, I put in an overlay of this video.
Agricultural expansion in Canada has led to significant environmental changes.
And that's the one that I was just replacing this scene with because I didn't like it. So it is very drag and drop, which has been my favorite way to explain it.
For sure.
And then I download it from there. One thing though, I do want to highlight, because again, that's a nice video, but is it social media optimized nowadays? What are some things we think, what are some things that social media posts need? They need to be engaging, they need to be quick and short, they need to, get to the point, and they need captions. I find those dynamic captions are a must these days. So I'm gonna do two fun things. I'm gonna have them running simultaneously just for the sake of this live, just so I can make sure we get everything in.
Yes.
And then watch, I'll say that, and then we'll have extra time left over.
Well, it's always that delicate balance.
It is that delicate balance. But what I'm doing, and this is right from Adobe Express, just as I log in, my favorite thing to look at first for a starting point are these quick actions.
For sure.
So we got a lot of stuff. We have remove background. They also have remove video background, resizing. I'm looking at these two, which remember your talking bee that you mentioned on screen.
Yes, please.
We're gonna put some fun stuff like that in there. So I'm gonna go to caption video right here. I downloaded the video, so I'm gonna put it in. We want to do shorts, human settlement. That's gonna be my short video. And again, it's gonna just quickly upload it. I love the little loading animation guy right here.
See, that's a little touch of love. Come on.
It is.
I love that.
It's fun on mobile too, because it's like bigger and it's right on your screen.
Oh, wow. That's so funny.
Yeah, and while that's working, what this is gonna do is it's really just reading my text. As you can see, analyzing video. I like that it tells me what's going on.
Yeah.
It's analyzing my text, analyzing my video, and it's gonna create a bunch of different dynamic caption options. Something I'm gonna also show though, while that's working, like I said, is animate from audio. So
What character will you
remember
choose?
remember what you asked for with the talking bee.
Yes.
Well, animate from audio, we have plenty of different options.
Oh my gosh, there's a sloth.
Look
Oh, they're so cute.
So I don't think this is like a hidden gem of Adobe Express. There's so just so people know, I'm gonna pop back here, but here are my captions, nice and ready for me. But animate from audio. I don't know if many people know this is an Express.
Never seen
And
it. This is amazing.
As a school teacher, I love this. My students love using this. It's so easy that I've had 7-year-olds use this. I haven't tried younger, but
I can't imagine as a kid. I'd go crazy.
right?
Like,
So imagine you being like a
animate everything.
7-year-old kid. You're trying to learn, you're trying to show your reading, your oral language, like speaking out loud, reading out loud. And you can now, I won't be doing it for this, but you can record into it and just speak. And it will immediately turn it into this character, whatever one you want.
A fun guy.
Sparkle or Stardust,
yeah.
the unicorn, being a fan favorite from
Amazing.
definitely working with kids and doing it with them. Got St. Patrick's Day. There's so many options, different styles as well.
Whoa.
And you can pick the one. There's also just like lips in case you want to like put that on top of a picture,
your video
right?
or something. Oh, wah, wah, wah.
So many different options. But this is really fun. And while I wouldn't put this in my overall YouTube video, because I just want it to be, the kids are just getting the input, they're getting the captions, and they're seeing the B-roll, the footage I've put up there. Something like a short, a YouTube short, a TikTok video, a reel. I think something like this is a lot of fun to just keep it more as a hook right away. Let me see if I don't think there is a bee.
Well, that's the downfall of Express. They don't have a B. Am I asking too much?
But what I could do, I won't do it today, but I could also just do it with these lips, have the transparent background, and just so I can show you can't, if you wanted to make your entire video, like if I wanted to take out my B-roll, I could just, let me do it without.
B-roll?
My B-roll. Let's say I wanted this carrot on the farm, right?
Oh my gosh. Adorable.
I could do it this way. Or I could stick with the transparent background. And if I did want a bee, I'm sure I could find, or like someone could like create an
Just
image of a
animate
bee.
real quick.
Yeah, snap, there it is. And I'm sure someone could then do this. Omar, I believe, because you're just recording, so I've only tried it in English, so I'm not sure what Omar's asking a question. Is it accepting different languages or only English? It is your recording, so it doesn't like transcribe, right? So I would assume it would work regardless of what language you use. Another feature, I've already used it. I like to use Adobe Podcast for this, but it'll also enhance your speech. Which sometimes when we're recording, if I were to record directly into my MacBook, it might come out a little like background noises, choppy audio, not the best audio. You can click this and it will do it for you, which is something I really like to do.
Oh, so it's automatic audition. It
Yes,
just, like,
yeah.
applies it.
For the sake of it being school related, I have liked this little chalkboard character.
So cute.
So I'm gonna use this little guy. And again, you'll find ones that maybe have different facial expressions. I don't want something that's like smiling and happy when we're talking about helping the earth and helping the planet.
Right, detrimental things to the planet.
Yeah. So I don't know if I want the earth. There is an earth icon. I don't want the earth smiling while I do this one. But instead of recording, I'm going to actually just upload my same video, my shorts, and it's going to go ahead and more loading animations.
That is great.
It's going to go ahead and work its magic. And
I need to know who did these animations.
Yeah,
This is amazing.
I'm not sure, but it seems like the characters have really added. Oh, these animations. I think you meant the little characters. Yeah, I love these.
I
These are
love
so
the
great.
characters too, and I want to know about those creators as well, because I imagine that these are all rigged in some way, and then it's like the programming makes it animate to the dialogue. But I also just love this little like, thumb fight animation.
And again, sorry, go ahead. It's telling me what's going on. It's saying like analyzing, and I don't know if you saw a second ago, it was saying like analyzing mouth movements or creating mouth movements just to match it to what I'm doing, and now it's exporting.
Very cool. Man, the heavy programming this little laptop is going through. It's going through a lot.
It's nice and quiet though.
Exactly. Hey, good job. Also, Omar, thank you so much saying that they're going to try it out and update us about what happens with a different language in Express.
Yes, thank you very much.
Captions.
And with the caption text, we're popping back to here just while that does generate. I love using this to caption my videos. I think social media content, again, no matter where it is on screen, I like how this is very non-distracting. It's not like popping up. Some people do like that style, and there are different options for it that you can switch through and try. You can do slanted in the corner. You can do basic across the bottom. You can just do plain text, right? But I think most social media videos really do need to be captioned these days.
Definitely.
Right?
I always watch on mute, basically, so I'm not going to know what's going on without captions.
Unless I'm 100% alone and know I'm alone, regardless of what I'm watching, I'm on mute.
Yes.
Like I'm just
Chat, raise your hands. Do you watch on mute? I wonder.
Even with headphones, I watch it on mute sometimes because I don't like it blasting in my ear.
Well, and also it's just a sensory thing sometimes. You don't want to like randomly run into things that are like screaming at you.
The volumes are different too, so it could just,
All over the place.
I love how I can change it. I've already switched it to green because I like it to be on brand for geography, but you can very quickly change your captions. That applies it to all of the captions all throughout, which is great. So all the different, like, right through there. I have found it to be so correct and intuitive. Like, you can go through if needed. Let me go back to my green.
And like edit the words that it chooses for everything.
So if I needed to, I could go in and as you can see in the corner, it's all right here. This is what's going to play for this segment as we go through. And I can very easily look for mistakes. But I'm pretty sure I haven't, like, I'll play this very briefly just so people can see in the audience. Again, going to be sick of my voice in the same clip. But I look for mistakes. I don't see any.
Human settlement, from the early days of civilization to the modern era, has dramatically affected the environment. Every time we build a home, pave a road, or establish a city, we are altering the natural landscape. Agricultural expansion in Canada has led to significant environmental changes, especially in the prairie provinces.
So I love it. It's very, like, I haven't had to go through and change much. It's all pretty much there when I need it to be.
It even capitalized Canada.
I was just thinking that. The maybe it's the teacher in me. We're gonna nerd out for a second. But it gets the punctuation. It gets really what you need it to be, which is awesome.
Definitely.
Really good.
Also, we've got a question from Twitch saying, can we import an Express animation to After Effects afterwards? This is an interesting question.
So things you can do, and I'll show mine just so we can hop back to our little character.
Yes.
Human settlement, from the early days of civilization to the modern era, has dramatically affected the environment. Every time we build a home, pave a road, or establish a city, we are altering the natural landscape. Agricultural
feel?
expansion in Canada
Being a
has led to
cartoon
significant
character?
environmental change.
I love being a little cartoon chalkboard. That's awesome.
That's
So,
adorable.
in terms of where you can bring it, I'm not too familiar with After Effects myself, but what I love to do, because it's a transparent background, I'm gonna open it in Editor, and it's gonna bring it into Adobe Express and maintain the transparency. I could then download it and put it into my videos. I could, again, Adobe Express has a video background remover, so I would think I could get a background removed video of this and put it into various projects.
Yeah, it would just be a downloaded like MP4.
I think
guessing?
so.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Human
hopefully that
settlement.
answers your question.
I like to do it all in here wherever I can. So let's go ahead and we're going to bring in my video. So again, I downloaded the video with the captions, and I'm going to pop it in in the background behind this little character. And all of them do have the option to open it in Express. So if there was, I think I'm in the way. There we go. Oh, now I'm blocking even more. So I think if I did want to make it, there we go. If I did want to make it bigger, right? If I did want to, again, I can change the color and text here, but if I did want to change anything, you can open it in Editor, and it groups all your files, all your text boxes for your captions, and you can really change them and alter them as much as you want.
Fantastic.
But I'm gonna go ahead and use the project I have. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in my captioned short. I like to label them. That's my goal for 2024, be a little bit better at labeling my work. How do you fall into that?
Shame. Oh, no, I'm horrible at it, but more power to you.
I'm trying. So I'm gonna fit it to the background because I want my little character behind it.
Nice.
And I think I wanna layer him behind. There he is.
There we go.
And
standing in the middle.
yeah, he's right in the middle. And I want him situated with my captions. Here he is. I am going to, so just a little tip if you are doing this, just so I found with the workflow, mute one of the two. This is just the workflow I do. I like to do the caption file, put that in, because then I can make sure it's what I want it to be. And then I like to put in the character. The character has audio of me speaking, and so does the video. So let's mute the character. There we go. Just so there's not two playing. And let's see our reel.
Human settlement, from the
Let's move him up a bit. Sorry.
So cute.
There he goes. And
Also, Omar says, so cute.
thank you.
The consensus is adorable.
We went with the right choice with this little chalkboard.
Definitely. And I love on the clear background how you can move him around very easily. And
Yeah.
then this is cropping in. So
Yes. Yeah. And I should have pointed out too, one thing I chose to export the size of this project for Instagram Reels. It was already set to do that for me. Let me pop in and show those options in here. If you go to size, they had just preloaded with. I can't think of any video any video format that's missing for me here. It's got portrait, it's got square, both for Instagram. It's got your story or Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikTok video. It's got your landscape. It's even got good old IGTV. I chose to do the story Reels because that's the use case I'm doing for it. I could have also done square, but like you said, I'm cropping it down just to make sure it's a little bit easier to move around. I don't want him on top of my captions.
This is all very intuitive too, how you're finding the tools and everything.
It's all there. The quick actions, like I said, that quick actions menu, I love it. I love being able to find everything I need so fast.
Absolutely.
Shall we listen?
Let's do it. One more time.
I'd like to think it's getting exciting, a little bit more interesting when I add an element each time.
It is.
human settlement, from the early days of civilization to the modern era, has dramatically affected the environment. Every time we build a home, pave a road, or establish a city, we are altering the natural landscape. Agricultural expansion in Canada has led to significant environmental changes, especially in the prairie provinces. Once covered with vast natural grasslands, much of this region has been converted into farmland to bolster the nation's agricultural output. While this has proven economically beneficial, it's also resulted in habitat loss and altered the native ecosystems, making them more vulnerable to pests and diseases.
There we go. Thank you, Omar.
Tell me more about agriculture. I just love
Right?
it. This little chalkboard.
Who knew they'd be coming away with some knowledge about geography?
I
after
love
today?
it. We can all use more knowledge about this, and also just the idea of what would catch your eye. I think you've nailed it, honestly, already. This little chalkboard, I would just be like, okay, what do you have to tell me? Because I love it.
And it's amazing. You never know what's gonna really be that hook for someone. And I do
For
try
sure.
to not to have too much overload, right? But I do think it is important to have like a focal point. Again, while these longer videos of the B-roll and the captions on screen do work really well, I find for my YouTube videos, the students are watching it on a projector. They're watching it on, a projector screen, right? So a large screen, they like to be more immersed in it. So I like it. When I converted this to a short, social media is my thing. I love social media. So I always say, know the subtle nuances of the platform or the format you're sharing it for.
Right.
So a large landscape video, I might want to be immersed into this agriculture, into this like moving forest, right? I like to feel like I'm there, full screen landscape. But on a short, on my phone, I need it to be more engaging than just landscape. And I think this character gives that.
It's just repackaging what you have already, but the idea of how people engage with these things, it's almost like thinking of what a client needs from you.
Yes.
It's just making it so that it fits their brief.
Exactly.
The brief of shorts is like, hey, attention grabbing, but not overwhelming.
And with all the platforms to show up on, again, this is all about growing your YouTube. Showing up on many platforms is a must. Not all of them. I try to do that and it's very stressful. But the ones that work for you and your goals, repurposing your content really does make it possible. And just knowing what to subtly change or add, which is super easy in Express, really does give it that extra mile.
Yeah. How many and which ones are you on? Of social medias?
Oh, let's see. So YouTube, Instagram's my favorite. I am on TikTok. Let's see, LinkedIn, but I post different stuff on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And Threads now,
Curated.
which I think is very similar to Instagram.
Five?
But, those are my 5, I think.
All right. So are you the Lucas O'Keefe on each of them? Everybody follow?
Yes. Yeah. This is the digital classroom experience. That's YouTube. But only check it out if you're interested in learning about teaching stuff.
Digital classroom experience.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Awesome. I love that.
Which, on that note, I want to make there's still something I want to add. I want to make this a little bit more recognizable as being from that channel, and I can do that at the end of the video or before. But I'm going to go ahead and add a quick scene, and I can do it at the end. Drag and drop. I want it at the beginning. I love how easy and seamless this is for the drag and drop editor. I'm gonna go ahead
And if you
make,
were doing it on mobile, it would just be like, zoop.
Yeah. You can just move it around to your heart's content. And I want to just make it match as like an intro slide of like digital classroom experience, subscribe, and then right into it. I could put that at the end. I could put that at the beginning. I'll show it at the beginning just to share it. What I'm gonna do though, so I added that scene. I want the background to match what's going on. I want it to match the same green I use for the captions. Again, I want that brand recognition to really just pop and for people to know this is the digital classroom experience. I want kids to, for better or for worse, like when their teacher plays this video, go, oh, not this guy again. Or
They're going to be like, awesome. I love this time of day.
Exactly. Or, oh, it's that one again. We love the talking chalkboard.
Yes. Talkie chalky.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, chat, if you have any names for the talking chalkboard, we'd love to hear it. But I don't know if we can top that one.
Also, Jacob says, you just changed the game for school projects.
Yes, so much fun. The Adobe for Edu Instagram account has some really good ideas for fun projects incorporating these too. So if any educators out there do want to try it out, or anyone who's just curious. But I have my brand palette already saved. I can have it a little bit more comprehensive, as we'll see. You can have logos, you can have your fonts that you like to use. Since I'm just switching the color, I have my geography color here, my green.
Nice.
I'm going to put that in there as a background. And I just want a quick little rolling in logo animation to just, again, have that brand recognition.
For sure.
Let's go to your stuff, and we are going to find what I'm looking for.
You got many libraries.
I do have many libraries. Sorry, we want to go to brands. My mistake. I want to go to my brands where I have, which I also have many brands.
Yeah, you do. Oh my goodness.
And here's my digital classroom
So
experience.
organized. See,
Trying.
you've already got it.
I'm trying. I can pop in my logo. I could put it in right there. If I maybe don't like how the blue looks on the green, well, I do want to keep it as a geography video. I could also just swap it in for my brand blue. I love having brand kits all set up for me.
Just ready to go.
Yeah.
This one evokes very earth kind of idea, the circle in there with blue.
And on this channel, I share math, I share science, I share geography. I've seen this fun debate online, and while I'm sharing this story, what I'm going to be doing is creating a subscribe button to go at the bottom and just moving around these elements. I've seen this debate online where as a student, or we've all had different, we call them duotangs, little duotangs or work folders.
Duotang.
For your subjects. Yeah, that might be, I think that's a Canadian thing. I don't know.
I'm fascinated. What?
Duotangs are those little folders you open and you have to there's the little push pin things, you fold them up.
Oh yeah, the brads or something.
Yeah, and you put a little sheet in there and then you close it. I don't know, we have those.
Okay, no, I know what you're talking of. You're talking of.
Work notebooks. And there's this common joke understanding of people arguing about which subject aligns with which color of notebook. And everyone's like, no, red is math. Red has to be math.
Has to be.
Green is geography.
Whoa.
Blue is science. So I don't know.
That's hilarious that it's in the zeitgeist of all teachers. Yes, this is what we do. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why.
I don't know. I think it's just childhood memories or being a student, the memories of that.
I could see that. Do you subscribe to that?
I do. I do. But I think I'm green is history and geography.
Whoa.
Blue is science. Red is math. That's me. Yellow is language and English.
Is there any purple or anything?
Maybe art. I don't know. That one I don't know.
Purple duotang. That's my fave.
So I'm going to just apply a shape, and I want to just make it a nice YouTube-y red. I could always just search up that color code.
Red.
Nice YouTube-y red. Let's go with that. And we're going to just make, the nice little button.
The button we all know and love.
The button we all know. Maybe I can make it a little darker. That's probably a little bit more YouTube.
It's true. You could get the brand of everything, but I feel like it is that iconography that transcends almost color and everything also.
Yes.
It's just the play button. You get it. It's
the
YouTube.
Play button.
Which that's what we're going for the digital classroom experience. Someday it'll be oh yeah, it's so iconic. Doesn't even matter what color it is. Everybody knows.
I'm learning, it's the digital classroom experience. That's exactly what I wanted to tune into. I'm putting in my text box there. I'm going to go ahead and group it. There are some cool features as well where I like to draw. I drew the shape separate and put the text over top and grouped it so I can animate it in a moment. Something I'll show later on when we work on some thumbnails or some cover photos for Reels and TikTok videos and wider YouTube thumbnails in general. You can also just add the shape effect behind the text in your text box. So I'll show how to do that in a moment.
Nice.
But one way to do it is this. Let's go ahead and just have these pop into people's face as the video comes on. I'm always very partial to pop. Pop is my go-to.
Which it's totally fine to have a go-to. See, this, by the way, if anybody is new to Express, these are animations that you can put onto elements that you have. Some of us are just used to, I made an image, and when it pops up, people will see it, and that's enough.
Or a fade in. I like to just, and again, I could do them all separately. Let's actually, since this one's a wheel, I know I added an animation, let's delete that. And just to do that, just to get to that window, I'm clicking on the element, and right at the bottom, I got tons and tons of animations. I love the options I have in terms of making it flow into the animation, making it leave, or just looping. And I'll use a combination of both.
Right.
But this one is a circle. Got to have a circle logo. Why have a circle logo if you're not going to have it spin right in there, right on screen? So let's go ahead and add that one in. Again, I can change the duration if I want it to spin more slowly. And I love how I can see it right away. I don't have to hit play and see, oh yeah, that's what I wanted. No, let me slow it down. Let me hit play.
Yes.
I love the option to do both.
Definitely. It just works the way you want it to.
Let's make it. We want it quick.
I think it's so funny that they put personalities for these. Do you ever play with the personality of the animation?
I haven't. Let's do it right now, though.
So
Look
goofy
at
to
soft,
me.
smooth, strong, energetic, loud.
What
I had
do you
strong.
identify with?
I identify with smooth. It's just
Good
let's see what smooth looks like. There we go. More rolling going on there, but let's go with loud. Let's see. Well, look at that.
Whoa.
It jumps to the end and comes back.
Dunzo.
If this is for students, they might appreciate that more, actually. So let's go ahead. And of course, the intensity can change. So you really do have so many options. I don't know if max intensity and loud is really the right combo for us.
Max loud.
You can make it roll up,
Learn,
down,
kids.
left, right, change the direction. There's so many options, which is a lot of
very
fun.
Cute. It looks like a little bell ringing sometimes. Doop.
It does, right? It is, which is what I want. I want that kind of memory of it coming in, and
It's
here
so
we go.
funny how much your brain fills in information with that kind of thing, where it's like even just the slightest motion and you think of something associated with it. It's just funny how.
I think I read a stat, and don't quote me on this, but like our brain can process like visuals like 40,000 times faster than words.
Whoa.
Maybe sounds a bit much. Maybe it's 4,000. Don't quote me, but. And there's our animation, just to show off those looping. After my logo comes in, I want to drive attention to the subscribe, so I can just have that kind of, I like pulsing, just to bring attention.
Like, hello.
Again, I can reduce the speed. The intensity will control like how much it pops at a screen. This will make it come too much at a frame.
Whoa.
Although some people might like that. Kind of actually makes it look like it fits. Yeah. Depends on what call to action I want to get across.
Definitely.
But let's keep it nice and subtle. There we go. Pops in.
Nice.
Here we go. Let's shrink it. I can always split it and then delete something. I'm just going to drag. And let's just take a quick look. There it comes in. Subscribe. Yeah, maybe I want it even shorter.
Nice.
I like how it tells me that like as I'm dragging it, millisecond by millisecond, I can really just see.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe and
Human settlement. From the early days of civilization
settlement.
to the modern era.
that's what we're learning about today.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have it right in your face.
Before we get into like some promo elements you might do and some ways you can repurpose this as well, I might add in some music. I love to do it. Especially I find when creating content for brands or as a brand, I like to use the music from here. I don't want to accidentally use music from Instagram or TikTok, and I don't know what commercial rights are applied to it. So I like to really just use any audio here. What do we want? Dramatic. We're talking about the earth here.
Drama.
Let's see.
Dun dun dun.
Epic, inspiring trailer.
Oh, very epic.
Epic, gritty, emotional, inspiring. That's what I want for the youth of tomorrow, caring about our planet.
All right, let's listen.
So I clicked on it and it automatically applied.
Nice.
Again, I'm just going to tone it down just for the sake of I am going to tone it down so you can hear my voiceover, but just so our audience, I don't know how loud it will be for them. So let's just play it.
Human settlement. From the early days of civilization to the modern era has dramatically affected the environment.
So just so you can hear the music, but now, obviously, I want the focal point to be my lesson, my voiceover. So it's super easy to just drop this very low. I'm going to try 5%. And again, I like to just apply something and listen and just see, okay, is it too overwhelming? Do I want it to be a little bit more standout, just to really create that effect for the viewer experience?
Early days of civilization to the modern era has dramatically affected the environment. Every time we build a home, pave a road, or establish a city, we are altering the natural landscape.
It's amazing what the music does to it.
It really changes. Well, and you were talking about Chalky not smiling too much because of the dramatic, like what you're talking about is not necessarily happy-go-lucky. But the music completely makes it just come together where it's not uninviting.
Right.
But it's also, it's on the more serious side. It's not silly.
Yeah, and I, again, hook people in with those senses. I'm using sound now. I'm using music on top of that. I'm using the motion. I find something I learned very early on when like the whole TikTok craze was going on of everybody like, we need short form video now.
For sure.
Was if you think about most of us when we're consuming content, I know myself personally, I'm on a couch laying down after work. I'm tired, or I'm commuting, I'm on a bus. I'm not moving, right? I'm staying still. So if you can create a video that provides that movement for me, that's going to be a natural hook. So that's why I applied things like this animation coming in. I'm just going to mute the audio just so we can hear me. But that movement right there might be what someone needs to just, that grabbed my attention. I'm going to watch this now. So very important for short form.
How long is that intro, by the way?
I made it 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
You could probably
feels
make
like
it
a good amount.
Yeah. I say like 2, 1, 1.5 around that range. I've done ones that are like 3, 4, 5 seconds long, and it sounds kind of sad because it's like, but that's not very long. It is in social media.
It is, especially when you watch it back yourself, and it's hard to sometimes divide yourself from the creator to be the audience for
Yes.
it, which is why I always like to give it time before I post something a little bit. Like, you know, you make it, you save it, and then watch it back a little bit later, and then you can post it and see if it feels like the right timing, things like that,
I
if
love
you're
that.
having trouble with it.
Approach it with fresh eyes, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And I think we see that a lot too, where we are the most like aware or critical of our work, right?
Oh, you can be hyper aware,
So
especially
much.
when making videos. You're like, all right, it's done at this point, especially when you've watched it so
Yeah.
many times. And I don't know if you have this problem, but I know when I make videos, I get tired of my voice pretty fast. Do you feel like that?
Me too. Apparently, there's a scientific reason for it. I got to make a digital classroom experience short
Yes.
about this. But I heard it's something like when we speak and we hear it, it's something like there's our vocal patterns echo off the inside of our skull or our head, and it comes back in a different tone than what everyone else is hearing. So when we hear ourselves recorded, we don't have that echo. Don't quote me on this. We don't have that
Quoting
echo,
right now.
so
You're
it
so
sounds
cute.
unfamiliar to us. It doesn't sound, so if we think we don't like our sound of our voice, it's not, it's just unfamiliar.
Yeah, absolutely.
From here, I'm gonna go ahead and add, I wanna create some things like thumbnails. I wanna create promotional material. And I created that quite quickly. Like my real goal, I don't wanna just do the same workflow for everybody, and I was going through the steps, but with how quickly I was able to apply this little character, apply captions, cut it, download anything I needed, apply it, I can probably do 5 shorts in 1 hour if that's what we wanted to make the entire workflow.
Go.
Right? Every I would maybe do this intro every time, right? So that part, and then every different way that human settlement can affect the environment. Deforestation, right? Light pollution, urban sprawl. I might just add that in and template that in, which is really
Each
nice.
section gets their own video, yeah.
I can keep the music. I can keep this, so it's really nice.
Love that.
But let's go ahead and let's create some promotional material. So let's create some thumbnails. I have a few options here. Again, repurposing is huge, and I'm going to use resize in Adobe Express. You can see I already have all these like preloaded suggested sizes that it likes me to use. I like to start bigger with the biggest project and then resize down to smaller is my favorite workflow.
Yeah,
So I'm going to start
makes sense.
with a bigger YouTube thumbnail just to work with that. And let's just create something. I'm going to use my brand kit quite a bit to make sure it's on theme. But let's create something that might be, for the overall YouTube video, a thumbnail. Nice and quick.
And this is the same video that we're working on.
Yeah.
So it's the same goal here, education, appealing to the classroom environment, basically.
Human settlement. Yeah, we got it. And what I'll actually show, because we should have time, is I'm going to also repurpose these into science. I'm going to repurpose these into different strands, and I'll
Nice.
show you how I can do that.
Yeah, we've got about 15 minutes.
Sweet. So I got my brand palettes here. Again, there's that green I like to use. Here I'm going to show that text feature that I really like. So I'm going to add in my text. Not the one I want to use, right? That's just my default.
Done.
But in my digital classroom experience brand, I do have my main font right there ready for me to go. So let's go with, we want to have the heading, geography.
Nice.
And I want this to be, I'm going to change the font to black, which I know right now probably doesn't have the best contrast, but what I'm going to do is I love
Trust the
these
process.
layout, yes, trust the process, it'll get there. I love these layout options. And again, this is about growing your YouTube channel. I find having standout thumbnails is a must. Like if you listen to, I've seen videos on creators like Mr. Beast, and Mr. Beast has like someone who's like full, I'm assuming well-paying salary job is like just designing and testing thumbnails again and again and again. Sometimes they change the thumbnail of a video after it's been uploaded for a week and just really
The
ABC test it. Yeah.
Totally.
So making a thumbnail, I want the lesson to stand out. I want the subject and the lesson. So I'll show how I do that.
Also, raise your hand in chat if you have a YouTube channel or would like to make one, because I'm very curious about the just who all wants to do this. I know I've always wanted to make a YouTube channel, but there are so many elements to it.
I think it's the hardest to start. It's like
Yes.
social media, I think, it's like very often in the palm of our hand we can create. But I think YouTube, for me, is much more intimidating to get started.
For sure, yeah. It is a very big chunk of who you are, right?
Yes.
You're putting out there.
And how you communicate. So what I'm doing with the text, this is what I mentioned earlier with my my channel buttons that I mentioned. So here, I just grouped the text box. I can ungroup it and move it away. Some people like that freedom, some people don't. So another option instead is I can apply shapes. So let me remove it just so we can see what I did. I select my text, and down here I'm going to shape, and it gives me so many options. Like that could be my YouTube button right there. I know that's quite large, so I can go to, on the options here, I can go to shape size, and that could have been very much an easy way for me to make my subscribe button.
Right.
Right
definitely.
there, right? If I wanted it, that way it's already joined. I don't have to group them or anything
Many
like that.
ways to do the same thing. That's
Yeah.
all Adobe of like, which way do you want to do things today?
Oh, totally. We found that out in the last session too. It's just like
Yeah,
so many different avenues and access points. And I love seeing everyone's different workflow. It's one of my favorite things to do.
For sure.
For this shape, I do want it to be a square. Again, so this is just going to be the basic fill. I'm going to make it have a little bit of a border there.
Nice.
And let's just make sure it does match my colors. There we go.
Once again, it feels like there are enough tools to control, but not so many that it's overwhelming.
Yes, exactly. I love the interface here and just what it gives me what I need to use. Next, I do want, so geography, I want that to be, that's important. I want teachers to know, or educators or students to know what the subject is. And again, I'll show you how I color code these, but I also do want to make the overall title of what this lesson is about. So I just copied and pasted my pre-existing text box I just made. We're gonna make it a lot bigger.
It's geography. Geography.
Geography in your face. I love teaching geography. I feel like it gets underestimated, but so much of geography is now sustainability in our future, and that's why it's my favorite subject to teach
Definitely.
and to create these like more digital learning experiences for it.
Thank you for teaching the kids this. The emphasis on that cannot be overstated. It's very important for the future.
So I have two options here, and again, just small things that I love that I think would add so many steps if I didn't have these in my workflow. Default text, it's just going to kind of, whatever alignment I have, it'll just align it. So I like that for some of my social media content, right? Human, settlement, and the environment. I keep adding an E to the end of environment. There we go. So I can have
When we're watching.
I can have that, but I don't want that. I want it to be all front and center. I want it to all be stuck together in a block. So I love the dynamic shape here, the text layout. It just forces it all together in a square alignment, which I find really does make it stand together. I can see it all. I'm going to fill in those gaps. And if I don't want and the to be the focus of the lesson, I can move it. So it really does change human settlement in the environment. Let's go ahead with, let's make it, there we go. I think that is quite visual. That's quite strong. Again, I'm going to play around with the shape. I'm growing the shape side because I don't like that gap in the middle. I want it to just be a solid chunk. I can go really big. I can go almost non-existent.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is, right? Different options. And there are so many. Like there's like decorative ones. I love them.
Definitely. All the options you could possibly imagine.
So there's a start to a thumbnail. I want to add some images now. So let's go ahead. Again, different options to do this. I'm going to go ahead and just place in some circle shapes that I want to fill in.
I also imagine when you have several videos next to each other, obviously the thumbnails all stacked up in your little video tab, you want it to look cohesive, but also each one stand out on their own merit, right?
Absolutely. And I'll show that in a moment
Excellent.
where I can like take this, copy it, and then also just change it up a little bit. Flip the subject to this side, just so it's not the exact same, like
Totally.
you said. Sometimes people might think it's the same lesson, they already saw it too, right?
For sure.
So I'm gonna go ahead and add a circle as a placement there, and we want to add some images. So let's go with, again, deforestation. Thank you for helping me suggestions with the spelling there.
Saving it.
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
right. So I want it to be visual. I want it to be clear what the lesson's about. And one of the things I talk about, again, this is the wider YouTube video where it's gonna comment on, this isn't just the short. I'll show how I make a cover for the short from this, but this is all the different types of ways humans affect the environment.
Right.
I'm gonna crop it to my circle here. And just so I can have this nice border behind it.
Yeah, that's again, it's like the multiple ways of making a border around something like that. I like your method there.
Yes, like I'm sure there's probably something like how I did this text as well. There's
There
so many
always-
options.
yeah.
Now I can copy and paste it, add in a few different sizes, different visuals to go with it.
Nice. So yeah, you're just using each element to basically shortcut what you just did again and again.
Yeah.
And then having that image, you're going to put different ones in it.
Yep. So I have it. I like how it's placed. I might change it once I see the actual new images. But once I have the copy selected, I'm just going to go to replace, and let's type in agricultural land. Definitely spelled that wrong.
I love how specific it is. It's not like farming. No, it's agricultural land.
Right. It knew. And I can crop this. I can slide this over to make it fit a bit better as much as I want. There we go.
And it was double clicking in that allows you to have these tools, right?
Yes.
Nice. Again, an intuitive thing, but somebody might miss it if they're not looking for it.
Right, and that's what. Thank you for reminding me to check in and tune in on that. I like the grids to make sure I'm lined up with it perfectly in case I do move something.
And how did you learn Express when you first encountered it?
Really just a lot of like my suggestion for learning Express is think of a project you want to create. Right? Maybe you want to create a YouTube thumbnail. Maybe you want to create like a collage scrapbook. Maybe you want to create a vision board. Hop in with a goal in mind of what you want to create. You can use things like templates to start or look at templates as a reference, but just try something, get in there, and it's very intuitive, very clear in what you might need. And then every time you do a different project, try a feature you didn't use last time.
Right, just learn in increments.
Yeah.
And of course, watch this video back.
Yes,
so you can take all of Lucas's knowledge and just soak it up.
There we go. Let's just make it a little bit more nice with some design assets.
And we have about 5 more minutes, just to let you know.
Perfect. And with resize, we're going to show how we can do some things very quick. So I might get into the zone here a little bit more.
Auto zone.
I'm going to add this grid behind. Another one of my favorite features too in Express. This is an asset, so it's like a photo kind of. So it's not an icon or a shape where I can change the color as easily, but I love these duotone effects, which pretty much do make it as easy as I need. What I'm doing is just changing the shadows and the highlights to match the color I want. And just like if it was like an icon, or a shape, I can just change that color.
What was the hotkey you used there to push it back?
Did I do that? Yeah, so I'm just doing Command and then I'm doing the square brackets.
Nice.
They also do have the layer window up here too, which helps me find things sometimes if I'm
dandy.
trying to select the right thing.
Yeah, that reminds me of Fresco, having the layers on the right.
Know those shortcuts, right? So here's my geography one. There's my thumbnail. Just with the time we have, I think I can do 2 more things. I think I can, first of all, resize it into an Instagram reel cover. YouTube short cover is the exact same. So I went to resize. Gives me all the options. I could do a bunch. I'm just gonna do this cover 1080 to 1920, duplicate and resize.
Ooh, so you don't even have to worry about like saving it out and then lost it.
My favorite thing about this too, and yes, let's see, someone asked, you can undo. So there you go. Someone asked, can I undo it? You can right there. I just did it, and I can redo it, and it's right back, which is great. Thank you for the great question. This is why I like to start with bigger, because now I can really play around with it. I'm gonna put this here. I'm going to put this here. I want it to be more visual, right? I want geography a little bit bigger. I want human settlement and the environment. This might be the case where I do go a little bit more like this.
Change around, yeah.
And that's where those dynamic options are wonderful.
So much easier than having like a Photoshop file.
Right?
And having to work it all out.
Let's move these down a little bit. Let's go ahead and...
Yeah, so this is why Express is made for social media. If you need to quickly just change things around.
It's right there in the name, Express,
exactly.
Right? I might just choose like a handful of images. Maybe I just want 2 because I don't want it, it's smaller, right? I don't want it to be too overwhelming. Maybe I do something like that, right? Have it a little bit more.
Nice.
Again, I can do things like animate. So let's say, again, maybe this is an Instagram story. Actually, I want to keep my work. So I like this reel cover. That's perfect. We got about a minute left. Let me duplicate it. And now I'm going to make it pop in as an Instagram story. Pop. Let's go ahead and grab my subscribe button from before.
It's so funny how you used all these things to make the video, and then now you can also use them to show people the video.
Exactly, right?
It's like the layers that are happening here.
And I can do like a watch now.
Ooh, yeah, and then put the link
And
on
then
it.
now it's a story. Yeah, I could put the link in there as well.
Nice.
I can animate that. And there we go. There's so many fun things you can do. Getting on as many channels, repurposing the content from long form to short form and back again with all those different elements. And it's very easy and quick to use it.
When you do it, you're amazing at this, Lucas. Thank you so much for showing us all the tips and tricks. It was lovely to have you here. Where can people find your work and also your social medias?
Yeah, so just if you want to check out what I'm doing with this channel, it's just The Digital Classroom Experience on YouTube and The Lucas O'Keefe for my Instagram tips, where I just help content creators become more standout content creators.
Excellent. Thank you everybody in the chat for joining us. We have more ahead for Adobe Live. We've got so many things coming up. Right next after this, we're going to have wedding photograph compositing, if I can read, with structure reference with Sara. She's going to be back if you missed her first stream today. She is going to be editing wedding photos or compositing. Thank you so much for being here. We love to see you, and we will see you again very soon on Adobe Live. Bye.
Thank you.
We're going to be designing Valentine's Day invites. We have Illustrator pulled up. So this is the overall vibes we're going for. To get us started, I just want to kind of create like a very top level brand identity, I guess, for this event. I'm just going to pull colors directly from the mood board. So we're going to grab the eyedropper tool. I hit the letter I on my keyboard. Okay, great. So we have our color palette. Cool. Let's make a general font pairing. Something that's really helpful is using this filters feature right here. I know that I want a serif font, so I'm going to click serif. And now you can see all of my serif fonts. I want to add some sort of little typewriter font. And then finally to add more of like a feminine touch, like a really girly script font. I've already named a library called Galentine's, and this is where I'm going to store all of these colors. I'm just going to select each square swatch, go down here to the plus sign and hit fill color. And now it's added that green to my library. So we're just doing this one by one. So I want to illustrate just like some line drawings of flowers. I'm just bringing this into Illustrator. So I'm going to lock this first layer. I'm going to draw on the second layer. All I'm doing is I have the pencil tool. I'm just tracing the outlines of these petals. Aren't they so cute?
Yeah,
I
they're
really like how they turned out. We're going to add these illustrations to our library so that we can easily access them in Express. If we just click and drag, that'll pop in here. Pull over Express. Just go here in the get started. So I'm gonna go to media and I'm just gonna search for paper texture. Rotate it. Go right over here to set as page background. We're gonna go to your stuff. I'm gonna go to brands and libraries. Now we can add our fonts here. We're gonna add text. And then what's really nice is now that we've set our brand fonts, they're gonna be the first three up here every time you go to choose a font. Roses before roses. We're gonna just add a rectangle over top of it and use the good old multiply. This is what I'm.
Yes.
Over here is where you're gonna see your layers. So I want this tinted color to just go right over top of the background. I want this to be white. You're invited. Putting in our info. White roses bouquet. We're going to remove the background. Let's see. And let's do that. Remove the background. We're gonna go to effects and we're just gonna hit grayscale. I'm gonna make this opacity go down a little bit because then I'm gonna come in here with the erase tool and I'm just gonna go over the stem here. So I'm gonna go over to elements. Let's grab a circle. Let's put it all the way to the back. Let's multiply it again and bring down the opacity. Okay, so because I'm texting this to all my friends and not printing it, that means I can animate it. So we're gonna click on this font, we're gonna hit animation, and we're gonna have like an in animation, a drift in. We're gonna do the same with our little rose bouquet. So I'm grouping it all together. Let's have that selected, go back to animation, do in, fade in. So if you just click this little notch down here that says show layer timing, we can actually change when this comes in. Okay, yeah, great, love that. I want to add some flying butterflies. I'm gonna go into media, I'm gonna go to videos, and I'm going to put butterflies on white background. Change the blend to multiply. So I'm gonna slow it down to 50% of this, and we're gonna wait to have those come in until the Galentine's info comes in too. Isn't that cute? And this is so perfect. Now what I would do is download it, save it as an MP4. I can then just bring it into iMessage and text it to all my friends. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you next time. Bye.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another session of Adobe Live. I'm your host Ted, and today we have here with us is Sara Stephenson. Hello. Hi. And our topic is gonna be about wedding photography, compositing with structured reference. Yeah, so tell us more about what we're gonna work on today. I'm very excited to be here and have you here with us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to work and talk together about this new stuff. So structure reference came out like a week ago, I think, or 2 weeks. It's pretty new. So we're gonna test it out kind of like with what I do for work. So I'm a photo editor, artist. So I do some of my personal work, like the screensaver that we just saw was what I did, or people reach out to me on the internet, like social media, and they're like, can you edit my wedding photo? So we have this photo right here that I'm editing, and she wants to add a veil, but I was kind of thought it'd be fun to like show the veil and it'd be like a flower archway. So usually probably what I would do is like maybe see what Generative Fill does, but today let's see what photo reference does. So you just go to firefly.adobe.com and you can kind of type what you want, like let's say like a circle flower arch with lots of let's see, I like to look at her flowers. So like she has like light pink kind of white with lots of pink and white roses.
Do you make sure like the flowers match? It's like, doesn't change the difference.
Right, and this is kind of cool too, right? Because usually what you do is like I'd go on the internet and try to find a PNG like of a veil or like an archway. So this is kind of pretty, like what it has so far. Like that's pretty cool. Like that's just like what it is. I could probably like download that and copy it, but we're gonna try to do the reference thing. So you can either do structure, which that I feel like is for more like, right, you can kind of see the examples, like what you want it to look like. For me, I kind of just want it to match the style. So I'm going to upload an image for the reference style. Let's see if I have the photo. I guess I should download it. Just download this really quick.
Yeah, when the structured reference came out last week, I was trying to figure out how can I use this in my workflow. There's like so many like possibility way to figure it out. I tried so many things. I was like, oh, this is like really fun, and like I was like, I want to see what other artists think, how they use the tool, right, in their workflow, so I can learn from it. So
yeah, and it's cool because then you can kind of figure out like, should I use reference? Because I think I follow an artist and that's what he uses, a lot of like referencing. So then he can kind of create like off of like this sphere thing, right? Make like a face with that or stuff like that. Kind of just like you want like a floating head or maybe a floating like flower pot kind of thing. Whereas this, I kind of want it as the style so it matches the color, because that's like really important with like compositing is matching the lighting color. I feel like that's what takes the longest while editing. It's like
trying to match everything.
Gotta add a shadow and a highlight here. So now like at the bottom here you can kind of see what the style reference is, and you could probably like add more. Like let's say like you didn't like that, you wanted maybe like a light pink, you just add it. And it says too, if it's the reference is too small, it's like try adding more. So for structure reference and like generating image, the bigger the paragraph, I think the better, more accurate you can get. So let's see what comes up.
Yeah.
This is super exciting.
So any special setting you put on the left side, or just kind of like keep it how it is?
That's true. I usually kind of start out how it is. So see, kind of even did like the little church in the background or wherever that place is in New York, which is kind of cool. But I love it because I feel like it really matches like the color, like the blue background. And we'll see too, like I'll copy it and kind of paste it in here. Yeah. Kind of copy that a little bit.
And the flowers definitely matching with the light pink and white.
Right, yeah. It's like almost literally, hers look brighter. So like from here, you could kind of change. So we have affects all popular movements. And so you can kind of look. I feel like we probably don't want hyper realistic. Okay, we can do camera. Oh, lighting, backlighting, dramatic. They have
There's
all,
a lot of lighting.
I know
They have
there's a
all
lot.
type of action.
There's like close-up landscape. So maybe landscape. So maybe that could be like a little bit sharper instead of like the archway as the focal point. And then I feel like we should let's try hyper-realistic. Let's see if that will be like more like a photo. I feel like, oh, here, content type. At the very top, you can, so it's on art right now. So let's just change this to photo. And something really cool is you can literally change like the shutter speed, the aperture. So let's make this like 200. Field of view. You can make it like closer or further away.
Oh, further, yeah.
So maybe change that instead of.
It's like you're operating like a
this.
virtual camera.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, what kind of photo do I want? And I like, the little examples that they show kind of to show you. So then you just do that, and then let's see, hyper-realistic. Maybe let's exit out of that one.
Generating, yeah. And you keep it as the aspect ratio is 1:1.
Yeah, I just
Nice.
do it like. I mean, I guess we could do what this is,
Oh,
but
it doesn't matter,
I think
right?
I mean,
Personal preference, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, see, like look how like more detail in the flowers they
yeah.
have. Whereas like this one is
Wow.
kind of a little bit more like a painting still.
Mm-hmm.
This one's pretty nice too. I think I really like that first one though. Like if I were to use this for an image, like for a client, and so you
I do like the
just,
first one, yeah. You
Yeah,
have a lot of like
it's-
all the details and leaves and like
Yeah.
the things hanging,
Which I mean, I guess it's kind of a little cut off, which maybe we want like a little bit more showing. So maybe we would use this one. We'll just download both just in case. So it downloads, and something that I think is always so fun when you go to open it on your computer.
You see all the PSD files.
Mine are actually kind of organized though. I'm proud to
Good
say
job, yeah.
that they're not just like final or whatever.
Oh,
like
mine's
that.
all final 5,
Capital final.
Yeah.
So like,
Seriously final.
this time it actually is. But it kind of shows you what you did for your generative
With the
thing.
prompt and everything.
You can kind of
Nice.
see like what I was playing around with earlier. So it kind of matched like what I said. So let's just open that up. And so then you can kind of see more like closely what it kind of looks like. And I think I am liking this one better than the first one just because this one looks almost like it's from below. And this is a little bit more head on. So what I would do is I would just go over here to Object Selection Tool. Just select that. And it's a little messy, but that's okay. It's kind of funny. I feel like artists either like select it like exactly. I'm more of like select everything and then erase later. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, I don't know
Interesting.
why erasing for me. I think because I feel like sometimes when I select it, I still feel like I'm like, oh, that looks a little off. So I'm like, I might as well
I
just
see.
spend the time like erasing everything.
I might have to try that workflow next time.
Yeah. So you can just kind of erase, whatever. But I'm like already, like, I mean, obviously it doesn't look part of the photo quite yet, but I'm like, I love how it already like matches the lighting. Like it's a cloudy day. I feel like it's really soft flowers. The greenery even matches.
Yeah.
I mean, you still need a little bit more work, but just already really impressed with how much it's done with just like the structure of things.
Nice.
So I feel like it's kind of would be cute if it was like went into the greenery. So I'm not going to spend time erasing them because I don't want to bore you guys.
Well, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask,
Yeah.
while she work on her magic.
But see, like, so here we have this, which from looking far away, you're like, oh, maybe, but obviously it's like, oh, this looks like it's floating. So this is where I would go in with like Generative Fill.
Ooh.
And in my opinion, I think it works better when you combine the layers. So I'm just going to take like the background layer and combine them doing Control E. So now it's just like its own layer. But I guess I should have always make a copy. An extra layer.
In case anything go wrong, we can go back. Yeah.
As you can see, all my extra layers from before. So then right here, I don't even feel like I have to say anything with Generative Fill, but I'm just kind of going to circle around because like these flowers aren't really like rose looking, even like a little bit right here.
So basically, you're trying to select the part and then blending with the background using the Generative Fill.
So yeah, when I'm hoping, with like the whole mossy bushes, it'll kind of like blend together.
Combine together, nice.
So we'll see what it looks like. But this is definitely more fun than starting out with like just like Generative Fill in itself because I
you
feel
have
like some-
more stronger elements to work with. Yeah.
And instead of just like working on a bare background, because I feel like it would probably get confused, like, oh, you're trying to make flowers like on this church over here or like what? But I love this. It made like a little like stone ledge. Oh, I love that. See, it kind of comes up with stuff like I never would have thought of that, really. Like
Nice.
like that makes sense where it would land right there.
Yeah, because sometimes like we might not have the energy or don't know what to type in, right? Like
Yeah,
you have
like,
this type of prompt of like describe the whole arch of flowers and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, like use Firefly to generate it first, bring back, and then combine together.
Yeah.
And then you do a little flip. Oh, that's smart.
And then you can copy and flip it. And sometimes it like, I feel like it almost works just to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But this is kind of nice too because then it kind of creates like this mossy area right here too. Let's just see though what it would come up with like right here. So it's kind of part of her dress too. I should probably mask her out, but
it's okay. We believe in Gen Fill.
Yeah.
Who does all the masking for us.
I know. And like what I'm probably gonna do next too is kind of show you like how I touch up the edges as well using Generative Fill. And of course, like when I'm gonna be like really detailed, I'll do it by hand. But it's kind of cool just to see what Generative Fill comes up with. So this one's like a little tricky, like because it's such on a weird part. So I definitely like this more. So what I would do is just blend it in there. So I actually think the other way.
I wonder if it like select both part at the same time and type the prompt
Oh,
with the stone.
yeah.
I don't know if that will work, but
We
just
could try
curious to know.
that. Let's see. Oh, whoops. Oh, I didn't do an extra layer. See? This is when I regret it. It's already flat. Oh, wait, actually.
Oh no, that's
Oh,
the
there
different
it is.
Firefly. There is it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should name my layers, actually. Stone. Okay.
It's okay.
So let's
depend who I'm handling my file to. Sometimes I don't name my layers.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're like, when I'm working on a project and they ask for like the layers. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. Think of like a nice, like there's always like so many spelling mistakes or something like that. I'm going to click the bride and groom really quick so I don't like.
To mask them out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Over whatever. And I always select and mask. And
Where your
just
clients
select
are always amazed when they get the photo from you, just like, wow, it's like
Yeah.
a whole, like completely different. Like say from like what they have in mind and then
It's-
how your vision
yeah.
sees it. That's
It's
so
really cool like when they give me like full artist like
Controls,
freedom.
directions.
And
Oh
they're
yeah,
kind of like,
the
I just
creative
want
freedom.
something different. Like a lot of times too, like they'll be like, oh, this was our wedding outside, but we only took photos inside because it was raining. Or something like that. Like even here, like
yeah.
it was raining, so I'm gonna like take away like a tent and some like her other
You can make
photos.
it beautiful,
Yeah.
crazy.
So it's like
flowers
I'll
and
like
everything.
switch it to the outside, but I'm just like, oh, I feel like I need like a little bit more creative freedom. Like it won't look exact, but they're always like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I was looking for. I'm like,
Yeah.
thank goodness.
And you're like proud, like, yep, I did
Yeah.
it.
You're like, okay,
That's so nice.
good.
Yeah.
So
Happy
here with
client,
the bride
happy
and groom.
life.
Right. So yeah, just like select this and maybe like, oh, like maybe if this doesn't work,
Mm-hmm.
I would, let me just select it. Generative. So, oh wait.
Oh, you're selecting both of one.
Dang,
It's
yeah.
okay. It happens.
Oh wait.
Shift.
Shift.
Yeah.
I'm like, I swear I was holding the shift button.
It happens.
And let's just see what it does first. I like to test it out.
Yeah,
But like,
wonder.
I would
Sometimes it
probably
works,
take,
sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, oh, I guess I should use a mouse. The wall right here, and maybe add more of it here,
Oh,
and then I think the stone
smart.
wall will look a little bit more together. But yeah, let's see what it does.
Dun, dun, dun.
So a little bit flowery. Oh, some more bushes. this right side is like having a really trouble.
Yeah. I think it's better to do like one by
Yeah.
one. Yeah, it's better to do that.
More in sections, because sometimes it
Yeah.
is just like it
In
likes to think
sections,
what you're
yeah.
thinking, but sometimes you're like, that is not what I was thinking.
Yeah. We're just like curious,
Yeah.
experiment sometime.
Yeah. Let's see. Stonewall. See, okay, the left side knows what it's doing. But like that one kind of looks cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
So it's
think
better to work as
yeah,
as sections.
I
yeah.
think by separate like stuff, which can sometimes like take a while, but like then if you do find something,
Maybe
I
that's
think
like
you're-
that should be their next update. Hey, generate something, but based on what you generated earlier.
yeah,
Right?
honestly, that's what sometimes I wish it kind of was like, but just in a new
Like a
like
C phase
focal
or
point,
something.
because right, this is gonna be like
Yeah.
smaller.
Right.
Oh, whoops.
Well,
Wrong
you
layer.
hear that Photoshop thing? We're letting you guys know
Yeah.
what we want.
There's always so many things where I'm like, I wish that this was like, I have this idea. Can you make it happen? But it's always so funny doing those surveys because most people like who use Photoshop, they're like, oh, like I kind of use it every so often. I'm like, I literally use this every single day. So I'm like, I need it. So just erase it. So I like how that's just like a little bit cleaner than it was before. And just a little bit, I guess that could be a little bit smaller. So sometimes like when you're manipulating like a layer, I like to go to edit and free transform. And then you can kind of click like on all of these different things. So I like the distort, which is you can make it like smaller or bigger.
Nice.
So that's always a fun tool.
Well, the
for
Control
people.
T, right? The shortcut.
Yeah. Control T, right click, and then you can just do all these things or like warp. So then I'm just gonna combine all these. Sometimes too, I guess if you combine the layers, it can kind of pick up so I think since this was a separate layer, it kind of didn't know, right?
So you might have to merge them together again.
Yeah, maybe like if like you combine them, it can kind of do it. So like now that I've like combined all this area, I feel like it knows like, okay, this is where the flowers stop, because it kind of kept bleeding over, which is kind of annoying. So, but yeah, definitely a work in progress. But like if you're just looking at this left side point, I feel like it looks pretty cool, like a flower archway, right?
Yeah.
So instead of like a tent, which is like where they kind of got married. So this is just like a separate photo.
It was raining outside.
Yeah. So this side is still like, oh, that one's okay, but yeah, I think we should just do the stone copy. So looking at the perspective, I probably change that, I feel like, to come out a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's something I asked them before too. I was like, hey, can you guys come up with like a auto perspective matching thing?
Right. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because
sometimes I'm like,
I don't know, I still kind of want to keep my job too. You know?
Right. So I kind of do this.
Yeah.
Let me switch it around. Yeah. Super fun though of like what you can come up with, because then it feels like a little bit more personalized. I feel like sometimes there's like the fear of AI of like, oh, it doesn't look realistic, but it's like, oh, I did have an archway, but like it fell over or something like that. And
there's a beautiful photo. It's nice.
Yeah. I'm like, it's just nice to have.
That's really cool. Make their special day even more beautiful.
Yeah. And then I would just like, so like this one really picked up nicely. So hopefully when I just like select all of this, it'll kind of fix that. And right, individually, I would go in and like fix each, like this flower looks weird. This one kind of looked a little weird. But that's just kind of part of the art project. That's why it's like a
step by step,
a masterpiece, because you have to wait a little bit for each thing.
So you used to do wedding photography more, but now you just focus on editing?
Yeah, I remember, like every weekend I had like a wedding, and they're really fun. I like them, and I remember thinking, I love the editing part. So this is like a little bit blurry, so we're just gonna generate it again. I'm like, I just like the editing. I was like, wouldn't that be cool if like
really
I could?
That's fun, yeah.
I know most people are like,
most people
oh,
it's the opposite way. Yeah.
They're like, I just want to shoot, which shooting is fun, but sometimes it is kind of nerve wracking where it's like, you have to be very, I feel like have like a strong voice as like a wedding photographer, because you have to like make sure everyone's in the photo. You have to make sure like you're organized. Like it's almost like turns into like a wedding planner kind of thing, because you have to be so organized. Because like me now, I'll get a ton of clients who are like, oh, my photographer didn't get this photo. And then it's like sometimes blamed on the photographer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's kind of more fun just editing. Ooh, I like that one a lot better than the other ones. The flowers I don't really like. They're a little bit messy. But it's probably because I didn't say to do flowers, so it is just like
so it's
copying from
automatically
that.
Like
and that's why I
stuff,
feel like right now, let's see, after combining it, like right here, I would do like roses, and we'll see what it comes up with. Roses. So a lot of generative fill.
That's what generative fill is
yeah.
for, right? Yeah, because I
It's just,
remember
like,
when
fun.
the time before generative fill was a lot of clone, a lot of
Yeah.
PNG, a lot of
Right,
lot of
this
editing.
is like where like I would probably take like these leaves and try to copy
try
and
to copy
erase
and do
it.
everything perfectly.
Whereas
yeah.
like this, like even the lighting, like it knows that it's like behind. And so I didn't mention that it was pink flowers. So and sometimes the shape does like matter, and so this one like kind of looks a little wonky. So
yeah,
maybe like fixing that just a little bit more.
If you guys have any questions for Sara, type in the chat. I'll let her know.
Yeah.
Anything about workflows, the concept, the idea. Is it hard to come up with the concept? Like when they give you totally creative freedom, or it's pretty fun, just like kind of go with your mind?
Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's like, it's kind of cool to see what generative fill just does. Like sometimes it's like, I'll just have like a blank background and I'll select the whole thing and I'll be like, beautiful wedding venue, like stuff like that. And that's why I think I like Generative Fill, because like I always have more ideas. Or even you can go back into like Adobe Firefly, right? And just kind of get ideas like, oh, like the whole bridge to a church with like the lake. And you're like, oh, that's really pretty. And so a lot of times I'll go on Adobe Firefly to like kind of like look ideas of what people generated. Because I think you can.
Oh yeah, it's like a free mood board. Right
Oh yeah.
there.
Oh, right there. Whoops. Oh, dang. Oh, here we go. So enter post-apocalyptic landscape where the remnants of civilization stand as silent witness, and like this whole paragraph, and then you have this picture. I'm like, oh, people get so creative. Like they literally write like a story.
Yeah, mine's like 5 words.
I know, and like
cool background.
Mine's like gourmet cheese board, but then a rustic cheese board featuring a variety.
Mine's like fantasy, sky, cool mountain peak, generate.
Lake, water.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll just do that.
More water, please.
Yeah, more. I'm always like more hair, more flowers. So it's kind of cool to see like what people generate. Like, oh, that's how I get. Like, oh, like CMYK color bird. Like, then you can get, you're like, oh, I can actually type in, like, the color scheme that I want. So that's why I kind of like this, because, like, I feel like I never run out of ideas. But, yeah, sometimes if I'm just, like, struggling, like, why does that look so bad? Yeah, that one's, like, from far away, like, it looks pretty good.
When you zoom in,
But, yeah, zooming in. Obviously, I would be more in depth if I wasn't, I guess, on a screen. But
don't worry,
yeah. But so we'll just do this one, and then we'll try compositing a veil, so that we can kind of see more.
Doing a quick walkthrough,
Yeah.
Because a lot of people haven't tried before, right?
Yeah.
They haven't tried the structure reference. They haven't tried the photo reference with like fireflies.
But yeah, this kind of shows you like what you can actually do, because it's like I'm just really impressed with like the flowers, how they match, and I maybe would make them like a little bit lighter and get rid of the yellow. See, oh, that one's pretty a little bit, and it kind of like how it's even trying to match like the background, right? Like it's trying to get the church in. Sometimes I like to look at it far away to see which one looks better. I think I like the third one. And sometimes too, like let's say I like the top better, I'll like make another layer, and then I can just like erase it, and then it won't be able. So then you can kind of get both.
Oh,
That's I feel like a huge thing, because sometimes you're like, oh, I only like this part, right? That way it kind of blends in together. So then you have, and then you just combine them, and then you just have like this new layer, which is pretty cool. Yay! Magic, right? Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Obviously, like I feel like you can kind of see the vibe. Like if this was over the whole thing, it would definitely just look like part of the photo. So, but let's do a veil now, because I also too on my wedding day I forgot my veil, and I was like, how do you? And it wasn't like a big deal. Like I had like a ceremony and then like a reception, so I was like, I'll just have her for the reception. But I'm like, it is crazy how like she forgot her veil. I'm like, oh, I did too.
It's okay. That's why we have Firefly and Photoshop.
This is why we have it. And she's pretty. She was saying she doesn't really care, so I think a really like long cathedral veil would look really pretty. So
it's good to like surprise her, right? It's like, hey, you know what? I know you say don't mind it, but I got you a little surprise in there.
Long cathedral veil, and see like that's a little bit short, so I feel like it'd be like from. I tried this earlier, and I tried doing like from the hair, from the head, but I think like from let's see, long cathedral veil, from like a hair bun kind of thing, like where it like sticks in.
Yes.
From the hair bun all the way to the ground. We'll just see what it pops up.
Oh, so like a super long one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Drum roll.
Let's see. And if this doesn't work, I have something else too. Because a veil is kind of hard, because this has like,
it's pretty hard to. It's like also see through, right?
Yeah. So this is like kind of cool. Like I mean, it did like from the bun right and down. But my problem is this girl is on like a side profile.
Yeah.
So trying to add that, so you can actually do side profile. Side profile view, which I think is really cool. Like how it just knows that. Like it's like how you have like a virtual camera, like you said. It's pretty neat.
I wonder like if you use a structure reference on that, would that work? I have no idea.
Tried it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes it did too much of like the photo.
Over. Oh, right, because it's like kind of remaking the whole thing, but based on your photo. Yeah, that makes sense.
So here, like this one's pretty cool. It kind of cuts it off. So I feel like side profile view of, I don't even know. See, this is where I'm like, I would like look up stuff of like, all the way to the ground with, something like that.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to get creative, and then I feel like here
You
is
can
where
control the camera too,
yeah,
right?
I guess nothing was on. It was just on
Yeah.
auto. So maybe like a
To
photo.
wide angle, maybe.
And then, oh, I don't even have my structure reference. That's kind of photo. That's kind of funny. It's still like picking up from what I did last time, which is kind of funny. How it like remembers that.
Yeah.
Well, and so this is kind of pretty. Like this one would be kind of cool if I wanted to do something like more like dramatic, like in the wind. Let's see. That's kind of cool. We're gonna save that one just in case. Let's make sure all our cameras. I like popular the best image, and then for photo, I just like auto. So we'll generate that again.
There's also the one you showed earlier, right, with the depth of field. Maybe
Oh
make it
yeah,
open too.
yeah. That's under content type. So that could be cool too. Instead of like a really
Make
close
it
up
super
shot.
wide. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
see?
never mind. You got something
there
really
you
good
go.
one here.
Yeah, the structure, the
Oh, that one's
photo
like
reference.
pretty good.
Yeah, that one's.
So I got excited.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
pointing at you, like, look at it.
Look at everyone. But isn't this like so pretty too? Like, I mean, the faces are a little
Yeah.
distorted, but like, I love even like the view of like if we had to like add them in there. Their background is really pretty already, so I feel like we don't need to do that. This one you can see a little bit more of like the train, but like her dress, I feel like is gonna cover it. So I think let's use this one.
I see.
So open. And let's do this one because it kind of and like I love how it kind of matches her dress too. So that's
Like
really
the
cool.
color, the weather, and everything.
Right, because trying to find like a PNG veil of like that matches like her color, her dress takes a little bit of time. Where I'd rather spend my time like doing something like this.
True.
Actually, I will put that back.
You have to find someone who provides a stock image of the
Yeah.
on Adobe stock. It's like, all right, Bill.
Yeah, Adobe stock is fun and definitely has like some nice images, but this is like I mean it's like a little yellow,
but you can do.
but
a
I mean,
quick
like-
fix, you know, just
like,
an easy fix.
even just that, and I would probably let's fix it a little
Look
bit.
at that! Wow.
Let's do it over. I always change like the opacity.
That's smart because like otherwise I would just be like trying to select the area and use Gen Fill, but that doesn't necessarily always like bring what I want.
Yeah,
But using Firefly to create the assets and then recomposite back
into it.
into there.
Yeah, I think it's
Smart.
a lot faster because sometimes I actually try with this photo. I tried doing a veil,
Yeah.
but it like it would just kind of change the background and like
Yeah, it
her
would change the
hair.
background.
And I was like, no, like a wedding veil. You know, I tried all
Yeah.
different types of names, and so sometimes I think it's just like hard because then like a veil is also like something invisible,
Yeah.
right? So then it's like confused, which is
Instead
pretty
of
funny.
3 photo, you get 4 on Firefly.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Even better deal.
So that's kind of fun.
Nice.
Okay, let's see. Let's see how this is turning out. I think I liked behind her, and then maybe we'll just add a little bit in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, too many layers. Alright, so yeah, you just kind of like have some fun. Actually, I want that behind her.
Yeah, that's a very smart way to move. I'm taking notes. I'm
Right.
gonna borrow that to my for my when it's my turn to do Adobe last night. So I got this idea. This
So
a skill set from Sara. Like this is what I'm gonna do.
Let's test it out.
Test it out.
So see, it's just like kind of a little bit overlapping her, and then let's get rid of the black. I would say, is that part of her? Oh yeah.
Oh, it's on the thing. Yeah.
Okay, and I kind of like it lower just so you can like still see her hair. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's like more important. And then I feel like you can add stuff to it. So I probably change the color first before we do anything more. So maybe let's just try doing the levels. I always like create my like coloring and like masking tools down here. You can do it up here, which I feel like is what people kind of learn first, right? Levels.
Oh yeah.
But
You can do image filter
yeah.
layers.
I feel like
but-
this lets you like have more control because this does like the whole photo, but then you can create like a clipping mask.
Nice.
Which
Do a
one?
little icon on the bottom right. I have the icon image on the top right, so I can just click it straight.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So a little bit brighter. It is a little yellow, so I feel like we'd go into selective color and kind of change that. Let's see. So just change the color. I guess it's mostly in the white section. You kind of have to mess around. So black. Maybe a little bit more. See, now you can tell it's like a little bit more purple. So it's kind of more matching together.
Yeah.
It looks actually part of the photo, which is always so exciting.
Yeah, we're getting close.
I know.
To
I'm like, you look
finishing.
far away and you're like, wow, that looks so pretty. Let's see. Maybe darken this just a little bit more. And I like too, this is like from the image before,
Yeah.
and I would fix this, but like it kind of looks like it's the stone behind it.
It does.
Which, and even like right here too, like the green.
Yeah,
I'm
little
like,
grass
how
and
did
things.
how did that like no, like literally it had like exactly
Yeah,
what
we
I
had
needed.
the style reference, right?
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
does a great job on matching that.
So like the only thing here, you probably need to fix. I'm just gonna make that all in one layer, so I don't have to worry about it. Is this like right where I would fix it? So like, which it kind of knows that that's your background. So and fix like the black.
Or getting even
But-
faster, just generate it.
Yeah, I just generate it.
One click, here you go, generate it.
Instead of like trying to like go in. But oh, I love like just how pretty like like she has like the applique and it also like matches there. So let's look at this. Oh, see, like it like matched her arm. Now that you can kind of see underneath. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, this gave
More
her like,
hair.
some hair, which is kind of cute. Like this one kind of made it look hair, so I think I like the first one.
Yeah.
And it kind of gave her more hair up there too, just like a little bit back there. And then I feel like let's fix that too, but maybe fix this top part. And here too, like you could add like like the little clip that they have, like something
Oh
pretty.
yeah,
like,
what do you
add
call
some,
that?
like-
Just
I don't even know.
the
Like
clip.
a
Oh, I
clip.
thought you would know.
Yeah.
Hair clip.
I probably did know at one point. Yeah, hair clip.
Butterfly hair clips or something.
Yeah. So let's see. So it kind of did something. It kind of just looks like the before.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost like,
I
so
see.
I'm like, I almost like the before. So maybe like, this is where I would look up. What is it called? A wedding. I probably just put
Veil
wedding
clip.
hair. Maybe like pin.
Let's
'Cause
cover it
clip.
with more flour.
Yeah. Or flowers too.
More
yeah,
flowers.
like more
you know?
flowers.
More flowers.
That's always good.
Oh, they're gonna be so happy when they get the photo. Be like,
I know, right?
"Ooh."
It's just so fun. Oh, see, it's like a little ribbon
We're getting
on the
there.
side. That one
Oh, that
actually
one's
is pretty
actually
good.
really good, yeah.
I like that. But they gave like a little bow, which
A
is
little
kind of
bow,
pretty.
does add a character.
But I kind of like this just because I don't want to
Smooth.
take away
Yeah.
from.
Also,
like,
it's
what-
just like facing us, right? So it
Yeah.
makes sense just not seeing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So then let's just go in and like erase this more.
It's so interesting. Like our workflow is like completely different, but it's like really cool to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do actually? Like, do you like edit photos for like?
Oh, I go
companies,
with
or-
my little tile. I'll just go in like editing all the detail and brush it
Oh,
up. You know.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, oh, I could use Generative Fill. I forgot
Right?
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And do you edit in Lightroom or Photoshop?
Photoshop.
Photoshop,
Mainly
oh,
in
nice.
Photoshop. Yeah.
Yeah, Photoshop is better in my opinion. A lot of my friends like Lightroom or Lightroom Classic has a little bit more stuff. And in
Oh.
Lightroom, like if you do edit in Lightroom, which I feel like a lot of people do, you can like edit this in Photoshop, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool because then it will bring you to this page, and then you can generate fill it, and then when you save it and exit out, it'll take you back to Lightroom.
Yeah,
It's kind of cool how it like.
I mainly use Lightroom to organize photo after the shoot, and then you rate the one you want, and then editing Photoshop, and then jump in between.
Yeah, so that's fun. So it's cool that it's like versatile depending on like what you learn.
There's a Gen Fill on Lightroom, right? I think.
There's what?
I think there's Generative Fill on Lightroom.
I actually don't even know. I haven't
I don't
used it in
know.
so long.
I used it recently, but I forgot.
It definitely has like the clone stamp tool and like the
Yeah, they have a
remove
lot of
tool,
new tools
but
out there.
I feel like this could be like a little bit darker, just to match maybe. It like looks too. See, this is where I'm like, it looks too bright, but it also looks too. It's almost like still a little bit yellow, in my opinion. So I feel like I want to fix. But like other than that, like
Mhm.
especially like this took way shorter than doing like the flower archway.
Oh, definitely.
Which I love, like just how short
Looks
that
really
was.
good.
Whereas like a PNG, I think I got like a PNG up here. This is my PNG, right? Like, and then let's see. This is
Yeah.
like where I kind of added like her dress, and this is like unfinished too.
Right.
So like it looks cool, but I mean,
It's like overpowering compared to the one we have.
yeah,
right
you
now,
could just like
yeah.
kind of tell like, oh,
This is very
that was edited.
settled, right?
But
Very
yeah, this is
settled
kind of
on the
like
back.
you would never guess. You have like her arm peeking through, and I could probably show like a little bit more. Like,
liquefy it.
yeah, right. But like
Right,
this part's
whoops.
kind of like missing, right?
It happens.
And with Generative Fill too, I feel like a good trick is to always make sure you're on the right layer.
That's
So you can
true.
actually like, I probably wouldn't want to use the brighten groom. Let's see. But I guess the veil is right here. Where is the veil? Okay, fun trick. If you hold V, you can find your layer.
You guys hear that whole V, and then you click, then you can find your layer.
Yeah, that is like life changing. I'm like, what layer am I working on?
I know.
So, but that's just like getting nitpicky. We'll start on another photo too to kind of see more, because she already has like a bouquet and everything. But super fun stuff. Thanks to structure reference, like we can definitely do more. So super subtle, but definitely added more like of her elbow, which I kind of like, because in far away, it definitely makes it look a little bit more realistic. And make sure to always save.
Oh yeah, always save your file.
Right. So here we have one of my wedding photos. So that's me and my husband. We met in middle school. This was actually the before, so the officiant is in there, and it's kind of cute how you can see like my family. Like this is my grandma, like right here. This is my mom and like brother-in-law, and I think that's like my cousin. But I think it kind of just looks like a little bit prettier with no people. Just like for printing purposes, like it's cute.
I was just
like,
more focused to clear out the
it's just like
and things.
I mean, because like really the officiant, it's like that's like a
I mean, you can see
background. So it's just kind of like let's just, and then even Generative Fill did like this little hair. So I did this like for an earlier project, so I kind of want to test it out in Adobe Firefly because.
Oh, what are you gonna use it with?
I'm gonna do the Generative Fill in Adobe Firefly because I feel like this you can do on your phone and it's really accurate actually. So I'm like, let's see like compared in Photoshop. And then in this. So you just scroll down and you go to generate, upload image.
You got Senorita Chocolate from YouTube saying hi.
Oh, from where?
YouTube.
Nice.
I'm on YouTube and Behance. I'm just watching the chat. Just like,
yeah.
If anybody asks anything, I'll be like, oh, we got questions right here.
Let's see. Too many files.
Usually
I'm on like a huge desktop too. Like this is computer's definitely for travel.
I have 3 screens.
Right? Oh, you do?
I have 3 screens.
That's what I need. I need more screens.
So on travel, I only have one. I was like, oh, this feels really odd.
It's so hard to do emails. I'm like, what does that say?
I know.
I'm like,
and I bought like an extra screen for my screen. I was like, this is a lot to travel.
Yeah, I've thought about that doing like the whole, but. So I just uploaded the image like literally at firefly.adobe.com, and usually I'll do this on my phone too, which is kind of nice, like when I'm bored or hanging out with friends or something. So let's just try. You just like highlight, and again let's just do like sections. So I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna click generate.
Nice. So you just drag the file, put on there, Generative Fill, then you can start playing with it.
Yeah, and you can just start.
It's gonna be so easy, like when someone like, hey, can you retouch this real quick, and then you're outside, you don't have your computer, just like, oh,
like, okay, let me try to do it.
Yeah.
Which sometimes like you get stuff like that, and you're like, oh, but like this one, I'm like,
there you go, yeah.
Like that actually matches like the wooden panel.
Yeah.
And you can do more if you want. What I would do is like just keep it and then just like continue editing.
Okay, so you're editing on top of that, just keep going.
Yeah, just kind of keep going, chipping away. So I'm like, that's pretty. Like let's like look at what it did here. Like, that's pretty accurate of what it did. Oh, I forgot that there's like faces right here too.
It's okay. Section. We're working sections by section.
Yeah. I think I kind of like this one the most. And
nice.
Let's do that, and then maybe let's just try.
Yeah, when I first saw the Generative Fill tool came out, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna make retouching so much easier.
Yeah.
Like you have so much different options.
How do I?
Because I did retouching for like 10 months at this company. It was painful, but great. This is a great way to learn.
Yeah.
I wish we have all the tool right now that we're using. Yeah.
It really was like I feel like when this came out, everyone's commenting like, "You're gonna lose your job." I'm like, no, I feel like I can do more, because like whereas
do
like
more job.
yeah, like I'm like, because before like I would literally have to like turn away work. I'm like, there's no way I can do
I
that.
feel you, yeah.
I'm just like, that would take me so long. Where you might as well just take like a new photo kind of thing.
You're like, surprise! Now you got more jobs.
Right. So this one kind of looks like a little greeny. I think that's so cool. Is it like follows the light pattern?
It does.
Like it's sunny, and so that's what I really like about Generative Fills. I would probably keep this one, and let's just get rid of this. I like to start like at the easier parts too, because I'm gonna try to get rid of this part, which will be the hardest, since it's like faces. But I feel like since I'm getting rid of stuff around it, it'll recognize like, oh, this should be the background instead of like a human. This one's pretty good.
Oh, did you watch the Adobe Max last year?
In October?
Yeah.
I think I watched a little bit of it.
Oh, they have I don't know when they're going to release it, but during the sneak peek, they have the reflection removing thing.
Oh, what?
It was really cool. You check it out after the stream, but it's really cool. Yeah.
That's
it basically will generate 2 layers. So one's like without the reflection, you can see everything behind it, and then one's with the reflection.
What?
It's really,
That's cool.
See.
Okay, let's go in. I feel like I'm so used to Photoshop, I can't like.
You're trying to. Yeah.
I know. I'm like here. Oh no, no, this isn't touchscreen. Different computer. So this one, it's almost like trying to edit like this one, like it's a
Nice,
like a bow tie.
shirts, yeah.
But I do like how like it still has like this one looks a little funky. So I probably, if I could go in further, if I could zoom in, man, it's almost like more fun on your phone because you can actually zoom in.
Control plus sign, it would just zoom in.
Oh yeah.
Press the plus. That one. Oh, never mind. It doesn't work.
Dang.
I usually zooming on the page.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just
okay.
try our best though.
We're just gonna get our face really close to
Yeah.
the screen.
I'm gonna be really loud for a second. So you can change your like brush settings like right here,
Oh,
and then
nice.
you can like actually do something more closer, so that you don't overdo it. So this seems like kind of like tedious, but it's honestly really fun, especially when it's like your own personal photo.
Yeah.
Especially like I just love how I can do it on my phone, because like when Generative Fill first came out, I'm like, this is so cool. And then
It's
like
just
this
like,
came out, I'm like, wait, like I can do. So a lot of times I'll use Firefly Adobe for my own personal photos, because like
nice.
since I'm like
Yeah.
I have a bunch of client work, like that gets most like priority. So I'll kind of like do this. This is kind of fun. It's like a little thing, but I kind of like it. Kind of gave us both hair, but like since I like this one so much, I feel like it's better to keep that and then just generate this again. So you kind of just like work, since you can't really like manipulate the layers like you can in Photoshop. You just kind of do it step by step.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun, because then you don't really need like a really broad knowledge on Photoshop or Lightroom. You just click and click.
Yeah, Muhammad says, awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool tips and tricks.
Cool. Yeah, I'm curious if anyone like has tried the Firefly.adobe, because I feel like a lot of people sometimes don't know about it. They're like, oh, is this a thing? But
You just type in firefly.adobe.com and then you can try all this, right?
yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, so you just keep doing that, but I'm like, I feel like that's pretty good, and like I almost like the hair here more than like right here, like it made it like a little bit
Because there was
curly.
no highlight on there.
Yeah, which like, I mean, it's still good. Like my hair was really curly that day, but anyway, you just keep doing that, right? The jawline.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
It's pretty
like,
good.
oh, there. I like that. So keep doing that, and then let's see. We would go back, and then you can like download it, whatever. Applying content credentials, so it kind of tells people.
Content credential.
So people are like, I don't know what's real anymore. That kind of shows you like, oh, this was AI was used on it, kind of thing. So then we go back, and then like here, I feel like I had more flowers too. Like I wish like more flowers were covering here, if that makes sense. And so I feel like I would just kind of do like again like. Let's see how different it is if I use this as a reference image. Circle, archway, around, let's see, like a circle window, I guess. It's kind of like a little window archway. Lots of small pink and white roses. Let's see. And then you kind of have to type something in and then upload like a reference image. So we'll do this one. Continue. The circle. This one's kind of cool though, like how like round it is. I guess it's more of like a, I don't even know what shape that is, but and then it got rid of my image.
Yeah, it didn't upload.
Yeah, I guess I could have been more patient. So uploading, and let's just try for fun, since we've already kind of done this, what the reference would look like.
So this is the structure reference?
So this is the structure reference. So this is kind of like what it should do is it should match what it looks like. So I bet what will happen is it'll have the people in there. And I think that's why I didn't use it before.
Sorry, is it gonna replace the people in there too?
I bet it will. Well, let's see. It'll almost like kind of create something that's
They
similar.
have a style reference. I never tried using both.
Yeah.
Like the same one, right?
Right, yeah. Oh, see? So kind of, this one almost looks like the groom
It's close
the
to
most. Yeah.
Same clothes.
But right, it's like I don't really want it. But I like how it used like the window. Like I love these flowers. Like that's kind of like more what I was looking for. And I think the most important part is it gets like the lighting right. And even like it has like the little reflections. So I kind of like this one for like if I was just to use the outside.
Because then you can just use the outside, bring
'Cause
back
then
to
I can-
Photoshop and do like a quick cleanup
Yeah.
on everything.
Because this is like really pretty still, right? But I'm like, if I just wanted to add a little bit more,
A little bit of something.
just something, which, so you just like select and copy. And so it's like a little bit yellow, but again, it's like, it knows like this side is like the more
Mhm.
shadowy place. And it can almost matches the shape, like exactly. Oh, that's so pretty. And then what I would do is I would just generate fill this.
Yeah. I would change the aspect ratio to like 4:3 on Firefly.
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
like more space.
That's true, yeah. So like I
So head
definitely
on
should
square,
do like
yeah.
more like that because then I don't have to
Last work,
scale
right?
it. Yeah. So I'm learning, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we're
kinda
doing
fun.
last work.
Yeah. But it is
Amazing
cool.
result.
Like
No,
it
it is,
feels like
yeah.
more
Oh, there you
like
go.
this
Yeah,
is
that
kind of
one.
how more of I imagined what like my archer was gonna look like was like more flowers around it, which is still really pretty. Like that, like somebody definitely like I think my mom put those in there because this is just like a grapevine,
Mhm.
right? But I think and then what I would do for like little stuff like this, the remove tool is always like life changing because you can just kind of like go
Remove
over
the
lines.
and shadow. Oh, that's
and
cool.
sometimes it kind of like creates the lines with it.
Yeah.
But see, it kind of like blends it in there a little bit, and I don't really like that. But yeah, it's super fun to play around with. To kind of like, I think this would be like really fun. Like if I was still in high school, like mess with my friends, like look at this photo, and they're like, I don't remember that. Like,
Yeah, like something's not wrong,
We're like,
but in
wait.
a really cool way.
but even I
Yeah.
feel like I don't even have to fix anything right here. Like I literally just I guess maybe this, but the wood matches so well.
That's a really cool way to use it. So you can upload any photo of yours and then put on structure reference,
Mm-hmm.
and then generate something different but with the same compositions, and then
Yeah.
you can just download back and then replace what was in the back. You know.
Yeah.
That's a fun way to use it because then like instead of using Generative Fill or Firefly and stuff, generate completely something different. You can actually have the same that follows the rule and guideline that you
Yeah.
wanted. So you're telling it's like, hey, I don't want you to change the outline, but I wanted to replace with like more flowers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can use it in the back. That's a really cool way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super fun. Because then again, you don't have to like worry about like, especially flowers where there's so many lighting differences.
I know.
Like
right?
it's almost like impossible to find like something that was exactly at, whenever a wedding was.
It's
like,
hard,
Like
yeah.
it's just like I think it was like 8 p.m. on like a June summer day. So I'm like, where are you gonna find a structure reference like that? This one's like almost like a little bit messy.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I feel like I would regenerate something because I'm like, this one
Yeah.
looks so.
That one looks so good. Yeah.
This one, let's see. I think I already pasted it. That's why you gotta create a bunch of layers. But
Sorry.
I guess like what I would do is I would just like copy this and then flip it.
Yeah.
That way it kind of looks more even.
I
So
have
flip.
about like 5-6 more minutes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys have any more questions for me too, I'd love to
Yeah.
answer because I've done Photoshop for literally like at least 10 years. I mean, and this is all new for me, but definitely know like ins and outs and like if you're struggling with something, like little tricks and tips to use it for. Kind of like, especially with Generative Fill, instead of like generating the whole thing, like add more flowers or something like that, this I could just add like right here at the top. So I feel like Generative Fill is really nice for doing little bits and sections. So I feel like if you're struggling, kind of just start out smaller
Mhm.
and then go bigger. Especially kind of like with the first photo we used, like trying to go, like let's say I was gonna go like here, I feel like that would almost just be really hard for it to be like super accurate. So right,
Yeah.
just kind of doing like bit by bit, a little bit. So that's why I like Generative Fill, and that's what I found is easiest to make it more personalized.
Totally.
Because now we have this really pretty photo, so
Mhm.
I'll send it to my husband and see if he
Like
recognizes
surprise.
it.
He was like, hey, do you remember what flower was those? He's like, wait, what? What flower? It's like,
What? Oh, here's another thing. I talked about this in my other live. When
Yeah.
you do the remove one,
Yeah.
it kind of is slow and it's kind of weird when it's a separate layer. So I think it's always better to
okay.
combine the layer
Let's make it faster.
to make it faster, and then it's kind of like, oh, this is all one image. So see, that was a little bit faster, but this I would definitely add more texture to it, because sometimes it doesn't catch this texture. But the flowers, that's pretty good texture. I'm very impressed with
Mhm.
how, like, that looks like a real flower. So, especially that one. But yeah, that was so fun to do with you guys. I'm so
Yeah.
excited to do.
So that's it for
more
today's
stuff.
wedding photography compositing with structured reference. So where can we find you on social media, websites? You know, where
Let's
do you
go
share your work?
To my Instagram
Your
first.
Instagram.
So here's my Instagram, Sarah's Snapshots. I literally made this when I was like 14 years old, so that's just
wow.
always been my name. And then if you go to like my link,
Mm-hmm.
there's the Photoshop app, so all links to, like Adobe. And then here's like my YouTube and my TikTok. So YouTube.
Nice. So it shows all the behind the scenes editing, everything.
I saw all of that.
Nice.
So I have a few tutorial videos, but mostly definitely like shorts and stuff like that. A few long form videos. I feel like YouTube definitely
Mm-hmm.
has like more stuff. Let's see, here's my TikTok too. It's all at Sarah Snapshots. So
Nice.
that's what I like about TikTok and YouTube.
Oh
It's
yeah,
all just-
TikTok will ask you to sign in.
Continue as guest. Okay, here we go.
But this is where we can find you on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
Yeah, and if you do want to send in a request, I do take requests.
Oh, we can request for photo editing.
Yeah, so this is like
nice.
a guaranteed response because I do have a very long queue. If you don't, and that's it's a paid request. It's $20, but it goes towards your photo, which is nice. It just kind of shows me. In the beginning, I think I would get like a lot of 12-year-olds like, can you edit this photo? And I'm like, oh, it costs money, and they're like, I don't have a job. So this kind of like tells me like, oh, I want to pay for it. You'll get your $20 back. But if not, you can just.
It's okay.
kinda
They can
type
watch your tutorial.
Yeah, exactly.
They can
I'm like,
watch
they
Adobe
can-
Live and learn how to
They're
do
young,
this.
they
Yeah.
can figure it out, and
They
so
got this.
they have
Cool.
all of this, or you can even do it right here. But
Nice.
yeah, it's super fun. So
Yeah, and that's for today's stream. Stay tuned. There's still more Adobe Live after this. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Oh wait, I think we have an extra 5 minutes. Whoops, sorry.
oh, cool, perfect.
I tuned in. Is there any other thing you want to show real quick for
I
like
can
5 more
talk.
minutes? Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Whoops, sorry.
Let's see, we can show a little bit. This is my Instagram before and after. So since you guys only get to see like kind of like what I do, like how to do stuff, this is kind of like what final stuff looks like. So I was gonna
Oh
edit
yeah.
up the
What are
X.
some of your like favorite photo that you edited, like a
One of
before
my
and
favorite
after?
photos.
Yeah.
This one definitely means a lot to me. I actually have lost my brother, and so this girl, she lost her brother before high school. He graduated, so his older brother graduated, so I used his photo to make a graduation for him. So I love those ones. Like they just feel so
meaningful
sweet to me.
projects and stuff.
And it's just like, oh, like I know how important it is because I feel like that's like the most controversial topic for like my stuff. It's like, oh, that's so fake, it never happened. But it's like, if you've ever lost someone, you would realize
Yeah.
like you only have like you will forever only have this photo.
You only
of
have
this,
so much
You know, so it's kind of like
To work on with, yeah.
when you photo edit stuff. Like let's see, let's try to find, or like this one. These are all her brothers, and I think 2 of them have passed away. So she just wanted one without the bride, and people are like, oh, that's so rude. But it's like, but she only has so many photos of her brother, right? And now you can like see him
It's
clearly.
like the very important memories
Yeah.
and moment that, you know.
Especially
bring
when you
back.
like move away and like you live long distance from family.
Yeah.
It's like, when are you all like ever together?
Not fair. Yeah, my
So-
family lives like parts away too, so yeah, it means
So
a
it's kind
lot.
of just like hard. It's like, or like even like stuff like this. Like this is probably like one of her really good friends, but she just wants one with just her and her baby,
Yeah.
right? Like I mean, or I don't know if that's the grandma or something like that. So I think I think those ones are really like meaningful to me. I do like extending photos. Some of my favorites are doing stuff like this, where it's like
wow.
this was their really special moment, but like it's so zoomed in, it's like really cut off, which is fine. Like, right, they keep this photo. Everyone's like, oh, like that's not the memories, but I'm like, I'm sure they have this photo, but like maybe if they wanted to print in their home, this looks way
Yeah.
more symmetrical. It kind of feels a frame, right? This one's just like so small, but like how much I added back into it. So I love doing stuff like that.
Yeah, so how would you see like how would you use structured reference more into your workflow, or right now just like a bit of everything together to like
Probably more like if I didn't have like a reference image of it, like this is the only photo I have, let's say, and I need to make it like just her and her mom. This is like almost like guessing. Like that was a lot of creating.
Oh,
But
I see,
now
yeah.
what I could do is, what I would probably do is like I would crop it in, like I would make my own layer of like this archway, and then I'd put that in as like the structure reference, let's say, and then maybe put this as like the photo reference for like color and stuff like that. And that way I could actually create like an archway instead of like trying to like home make it. So I feel like this will like allow me to like accept more work.
I see.
Like, oh yeah, I could do that.
You
like
can
I
do,
don't
like, the timing
I don't
thing,
need an
yeah.
extra photo for that, or like something like this. Oh my gosh, this took me so long.
Like the floor texture. Oh yeah, I think I saw this on YouTube or somewhere. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, the floor textures replacing that. It's like all the textures in there.
I know, right? People are like,
Wow.
you like gloss the
Wait,
floors.
go back to the before
Go
again.
to the before
And go back to the after.
and after. And I definitely kind of edited it a little bit because iPhone, I think this was like iPhone 0.5, you know, how it kind of like distorts it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so then kind of fixing the coloring. And then there's this one. And then editing. So I really like how it kind of catches the light. This was all like generated fill.
This is with Trim Fill.
But I wonder what it'd be like, you know, to kind of use this as like the
Structure reference?
the structure reference. And because I feel like,
Oh, yeah.
see, like when you did like the structure reference, it did the people, right? It does the exact type of photo.
Oh, but
if
it
you
keeps
just
the
do
background
the
and everything.
style,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it doesn't do any people if you don't like type that in. So like, you know, beautiful like hallway in France. I'm pretty sure this is France. With chandeliers and paintings. They'd probably like create something without like a person because you don't add that in there. So that'd be kind of cool to like see like what that would work on.
That's so
Let's see, there's-
cool.
Oh, here, I think I talked about this in my other Adobe Live. Like
Oh, yeah.
when you don't, like, so this is another.
No, I saw
beautiful
this one. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
it's
the one I
like-
saw. Yeah, I remember this one.
And this was like really cool because I was like, oh, I don't really know like what her lips look like. So I was like, oh, can you tell me?
So
I
you can
think-
help her with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing she did tell me was I think I like adjusted her nose just like a little bit. Like I had it a little
Yeah.
far to the left, and so I moved it in. So that was like kind of cool to like see like
Without
how you know
Yeah.
photo reference and stuff like that.
And so we can find you at Sara _ snapshots, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sarah's
Yeah,
underscore
stay tuned
Snapshots.
for one more sessions after this, and thanks for everyone for being here. And I'll see you guys next time.
Ciao.
Bye.
Welcome back to Adobe Live. I'm Lucas O'Keefe, and I'm joined by Anna Daviscourt
Hey, woo!
for another
We're back.
for another exciting session in the great day we've had. I love the colorful background behind us. First
I
of all,
know, this is a piece of mine. I didn't even know it was going to be here.
so
but-
much fun, and that's really just setting the stage for what we're chatting about today with picking the perfect palette. We're talking all about color in your beautiful artwork, your beautiful illustrations.
Thank you.
So if you're tuning in from the chat, whether you're on Behance or YouTube, let us know where you're joining from. We're going to want a lot of input. Anna's making this nice and customized for the chat, for our wonderful audience. So please do let us know where you're tuning in from.
Get your
and
fingers ready.
we love to read your questions live. Without further ado, Anna, why don't you introduce yourself and let us know what we'll be journeying into today.
Yes, hello. I am Anna Daviscourt. I'm a children's book illustrator. I love making everything colorful and whimsical. So if you are into that too, join us on a journey with a chicken. We've got a chicken today that I'm going to be painting in Photoshop. It's funny because I've actually already painted it. However, I am going to be working on a different colorway. So this is something that I do all the time in my work. I usually paint out these really loose ideas of multiple colors palettes that I can use. However, today what we're going to be doing is recoloring the entire piece so that we can just really have the best of all worlds. So if you've never recolored something in Photoshop, I can show you some hot tips of how to do it. And I also think that it's just kind of blending in with my indecisiveness today.
Okay, nice.
I don't ever know what my favorite color palette is, so I really wanted to celebrate that on social
Been
media.
there.
Yeah, totally. And if you didn't catch Lucas's stream earlier, you have different colors associated with different video types
Yes,
and like
I do.
teaching. And so I think that having multiple color palettes is almost always a plus. Having different ways that you can think of values and just making one piece really stretch is a really fun thing. So I start with a sketch always. This is a little sketch of the just the bare bones of the idea I had for this piece, which was on the outside border. You'll see here some like really rough sketches of little pattern pieces. I wanted to emulate a quilt. I've been seeing a lot of artists that are actual like quilters on Pinterest. I'm very into fiber arts.
Oh, very
and
nice.
so that's the inspiration for today. And then we've got, of course, chickens, because who doesn't love chickens? So do you want to see the full piece already painted?
Yes, let's see it.
Boom. Done. All right, we did it, guys.
Cock-a-doodle-doo. Is that chickens? No, what am I saying?
Well, this is the rooster.
The
there
rooster.
we go. Cock-a-doodle-doo. So the idea here being all of these patterns around the edge have different layers. So this is the key to recoloring for me, is having the different layers so that I can use whatever adjustments on them. I could even just fill them with a new color if they are on their own layers. So I'm going to show you a little bit of my PSD anatomy here. Let's do an autopsy. And don't judge me for the organization, because like I name some layers, I don't name others.
We chatted about that earlier.
I group some things, I don't group others. Raise your hand in the chat.
Two
if
types of
you-
people in this world.
Yeah, exactly. I want to know who is organized and who isn't. What would the emojis be that we put in the chat? So organized would be like I don't know. You could just do a red heart, and then for unorganized, black heart.
Ooh, there we go.
What do you think?
I was thinking that like kaboom emoji for disorganized, you know, where it's like a comic book action like bubble.
How do you search that?
That might be
Kaboom.
difficult to find. That's
But I know what you're talking about. Okay, so I've got the border here, and this is actually a layer that I have masked to just be on the outer edges. But I can show you, let's see. Oh yeah, I need the hotkey.
and Rob Zilla dropping some lightning bolt in the chat. I like that. I'm gonna guess that goes with the disorganized. I don't know.
I think Rob is just saying it's all Rob all the time, baby. Okay, so I have this line art here. I can turn off all the colors, and you can see this is how I organize this. And I actually did make a pattern of it, and then I just filled the area with the pattern. If you don't know how that works, you can look up my past streams. I've shown it many times on how to make a pattern in Photoshop, and it was really extremely easy. So I just used this as a guide at first, and then I decided I actually liked having it there
Very nice.
as kind of a structure, because a lot of these, if you see the fill in here, it's very messy. It's actually like I just did a little like zhuzh with my brush, and that's kind of what I'm going for with my look. All depends on the look you're going for. So the layers that I have here, I did a center diamond, and then the rest of these are kind of random all over the place. You see how
Oh, I love seeing it come.
I
I
know,
love seeing
it's
it come
really
together.
fun. It's very satisfying.
And
This
Jack
is-
has put a poll in for polling our audience about what type of organization you have
Thank
as a
you,
creator.
Jack.
We have Alessandra putting in the black heart as for disorganized. We have Clever Dev Lynn, a bit of both, a little bit of both. So
Depends on the day.
Go vote on that poll. See how everybody else fits into this.
I agree. I'm kind of depends on the day, and it also depends on the project. If somebody else is going to pick this up and run with it, I will make it so immaculate, everything named, color coordinated, whatever. You can see I did some color coordination
saw
in the
that.
layers here, but it's not like, rock solid. It's not going to be exact. And then also when I'm going to be changing these colors later, it won't necessarily correspond. So it was just for me when I first started so that I didn't have to keep clicking on and off to figure out which was which. So yeah, we have a very satisfying, let's just do this one more time and build it up. Ooh, yeah, what? Cool. Da-da-da-da.
I'm imagining like an Instagram reel of that just coming together. Layer,
Okay.
done,
Genius.
finished piece. I love it.
I love that. Honestly, yeah, we should do that too.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be taking things into Express after I have all of the PSD or JPEGs out. So that is something that we could totally do. I love that. All right, so that's our border. And then inside of our other group, so we've got straubs, which is strawberries, very technical term.
Of course.
We've got chickies, which is very technical term for chickens, which who knows the scientific name for chickens, because I don't. And then we've got
What
the
came
background.
first, the name or the chicken? I don't know.
There's an egg in there somewhere. I have no idea.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got the background layer, and you can see that sketches behind there. I can turn that off, and it's just white. So the background really determines a lot of the overall color, where it's like, the big part of the canvas, the biggest part of the canvas, the biggest chunk of the color is determined by the background. Now everything else kind of bounces off of that, becomes complementary or contrasting or whatever. In the chickens group, it's got eyes, legs, and beaks, the chicks themselves, and the wattle. I don't know what to call that. I think it's called a wattle. Do you know what that
Like-
part is?
Oh,
the
I
chicken,
don't.
the hair,
I don't want to guess.
beard.
I think I'm going to get it wrong.
Be wrong. Be bold and be wrong. And then we've got the wings, or the wing and the center thing, whatever you would call that, like a variety of feather type. And I actually did look up some real chickens for this, but I don't have to stick to reality. That is the glory of illustrative style, is you can make everything any color. So we can really play with that. And then of course I got the body.
Apparently it's called a comb. I just Googled it. A comb is the red outgrowth on top of a chicken's head.
Outgrowth, that kind of sounds sick, but let's rename it. All right, so we've got a comb. Oh,
And-
it's cob. Whoops, comb. There we go.
And when you're having these in different layers, is there a reason for why, like the beaks and the eyes might be on a different layer, the bodies?
Yes, because they are all the same color.
Oh, okay.
So the legs and beaks I have as all orange on
Oh.
this. So that's why they would be together. The eyes are all just dots on this. That is for simplicity. You can absolutely go more complex with your colors and everything. It really is in your wheelhouse as a creative. You can make whatever you want. This is just how I found it to be most simplified
Nice.
for the purposes of today. And then I've, of course, got this little border up here. We've got strawberries. Let's get going on different colors. This is the structure. So I actually did a few of these that I want to save for later to show you how I dealt with some of the different color changes, because I
Okay.
didn't know how many we would get through on stream. But I do have an idea for a dramatically different color palette from this one, and I think it will be really fun. But I also want you guys to chime off in the chat if you have any color ideas with where we could go with this. If there's an overall palette that you're thinking of, like maybe a Twilight Sparkle, where it's like a shift from blue and purple, and then it's got highlights of like yellow and orange or something like that. Or it could be, I don't know, Cotton Candy Rainbow, and we could do like a pastel, just tons of colors.
I already love the names for those. Cotton Candy Rainbow.
I know,
like that.
it's just whatever comes to mind with the color palette.
Yes,
Have you ever seen a color that's like, it feels like something? Like,
Yes.
do you know, what was it? It was Crayola had a color that was macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
And it's like instantly.
Had like the orangey yellowy
Yes,
almost to
it's
it.
Kraft
Yes.
mac and cheese
Not
color.
just yellow, not just, yes.
Yes, so what was the color you were thinking of?
I was thinking, like, to incorporate in this.
Oh, just for if you've ever seen a color or like a thing that made you think of a color or vice versa.
I think the name Seafoam Green always comes to mind as like being so perfectly named.
Which is already one of my favorites. So yes, I agree. So we've got so many colors to pick from for this, but I really like to start with either one or two things. A really rough idea. I can paint it out and just have like a little paint session with y'all. Or we could just jump in and start making the background a different color, and instantly that kind of decides a few things for us. So.
Okay. So let's see in the chat. We're seeing some nice color palettes come in. Clever Devlin, Maniacal Calico. That's my palette of my home. I love naming color palettes. Right?
I love that. Yes.
It's the most fun, and just like assigning that mood to the collection of colors.
It's amazing because you can sometimes find the exact right thing, and it just clicks with anyone who could possibly see it. There was this one time where my best friend and I, we saw this shirt of our friend, and it had a floral pattern that was like mirrored on each side. And he asked me when I walked in the room, what would you name her shirt? And I was like, Springtime Rorschach.
There we go.
And he said, I said the exact same thing.
The exact same as something that specific.
Yeah.
That is friendship.
It was so weird. And Anthony, if you're in the chat, do you remember this? It was crazy.
Rob is naming a color Zilla Ochre.
Zilla Ochre. Ochre, okay, so...
That's a good color, yeah.
Ochre as in the vegetable, or ochre as in like the paint?
Oh, I would think ochre, yes.
Ochre, okay, so that actually is kind of in line with what I was thinking before. So I'm going to do a really quick just like painting of it. I'm using Kyle's Bristle Balm brush here, and that is always one of my favorites, just by the way. And it's kind of similar to this yellow here, but I want to go a little bit more orange and a little bit darker.
Ooh, very
kind
nice.
of in that mustardy tone. I'm just going to paint on top.
Perfect.
I could, I guess, like turn all this off. So
and I'm seeing the colors come through. Infernal reds, heavenly pastel sweets. I love the descriptive writing too. Please keep those colors coming in.
I love
Name them for more fun. But even if you want to just chime in with just whatever you want to call the color, we'll make sure it gets into this drawing.
Yes, please. So I was thinking of doing a dark chicken since I have, this is a brown chicken on here. And again, you do not have to pay attention to reality. Who needs reality? I mean, come on. But I do think that it would be really fun to have a darker chicken on a lighter background. So I'm going to start with our background color being that mustardy ochre kind of color. And then we could do darker chickies. And then let's see, I think to make their beaks stand out and their legs stand out a little bit more on this color that would be similar to what my beak and legs were before, I might go for what I have seen on some chickens, like a gray tone, which would be interesting.
Very nice.
Kind of goth chickens.
So you're mapping out what this is going to look like with the colors?
No, this is the final piece. What are you talking about? Yeah, this is just a tiny little map. I really like to keep things small when I'm thumbnailing just to have some clarity about like, I am not painting right now. This is thinking.
And as that green's coming in, we do have avocado coming through as one of the colors, which that does. Oh, I like that. Look at those corners. Those are some nice greens.
And then the straws, I think we could go for like kind of a bright pinkish red this time, so that it's kind of like a little pop. And of course, all of this can change very much by the end. What kind of border colors for that quilt do you think goes with this? Maybe like, do we want to go with the color that we have in the background, or do we want to kind of complement off of it?
How do any of these, we have Sun-Washed Springtime.
Sun-Washed Springtime,
I
that
like
is
that.
great. I think of like, maybe we put like a little lighter of a yellow with Sun-Washed, and then, and again, this is just very broad strokes, literally. And then we could do a little bit of like a pea green.
Yep.
Like just little bits in there.
Like the buds of the flowers coming through, or the buds of the plants coming through the soil.
And then we could have like a highlight of pink, because that, thinking of like sweet pea buds makes me think of that.
Starting to bloom.
Yes. Okay. I love this. I love how it's coming in.
Gingham blue, green, or pink.
Ooh. You know, a little bit of sky blue. See, all of this is very warm. So when you do have one little contrasting tone, like a cool tone, like a blue.
Yep.
We can get in there and have just, it feels like Easter on that border, honestly. So we'll see how it works in the final piece. This is all just putting it out there, seeing what works. So again, let's turn on, we duplicated this group. So we're not losing anything, we're just duplicating the group. So if we want to call this one, what was the name for this? We'll just call it Ochre.
Okay.
Ochre.
Yes, we had Zilla Ochre.
Zilla. Hey, Zilla. How you doing? Okay, so what I'm going to do is just start Option or Alt, what do you call it? Color picking.
Okay.
And then I'm going to fill it in with Command Delete. Should fill the whole thing, right? Or wait, is it? Okay, I'm trying to work on a Mac when I'm a PC person, and I'm like, which one is it? We can always go to Edit Fill, and we can just do the foreground color. Boom. Wait, did it do it? Oh, wait.
I did see it change.
There we go.
Ooh, very
That's
nice.
what it is. Okay, so this overlayer is a bit of texture.
Okay.
So that one I could do a multitude of things to make it kind of vibe with this. I think putting it on multiply is the move right now so that I can just do that. Now this looks wacko because nothing else has the color changes going on. But don't panic.
So we started with the
Calm
background.
down.
We're starting with the background?
Yes.
Yes.
Starting with the background, and then I'm just, as quickly as I can, just going to pop some of the colors in here. Since I already have the colors figured out, what I'm going to do is pixel lock each layer. So the body, I'm just going to select from our little painting, and I'm going to fill it, and it's all going to change everything. Like every change that we make to the colors changes the whole color palette altogether. And again, since these guys are so like sectioned out by color, it's really easy to just pop in there, fill it with a new color, and boom, you've got a whole new palette kind of happening before your eyes.
So you're picking your color from your rough sketch and you're applying it to the layers?
Exactly.
Very nice.
Exactly, you got it. Okay, and then for the little chickies down here, I'm just gonna keep doing this. Let me know if you have any questions, of course. Whoops. By the way, that was because I didn't have it pixel locked yet. Boom, pixel lock it. I could just pixel lock all these really easy. Beep, beep, beep.
I still just love the strawberries. Those are standing out so perfectly.
Actually, yeah, I think they're kind of the right pink right now. So that's lucky.
And let us know in the chat, what's your favorite part of the illustration? I'm team strawberry. There's chicks, there's the plants, there's the overall chicken.
Thank you.
The comb of the chicken, of course.
The comb. The comb is my favorite part, obviously. See, I didn't even put the comb in the little illustration that we have, and that's just because the little illustration is really for broad strokes, and so the comb is too small for broad. All right, so at this point, I think we can turn that off, and we're kind of seeing the different colors come together, but now I feel like certain parts are just not working as much. Now we're gonna ignore the border right now. I'm just looking at the strawberries and the other border, the inner border.
Okay.
So with the strawberries, I like that they're green for this piece because I want bits of green.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't know if it's the right green for this. I think I want it a little bit warmer. So what I'm going to do is pop a hue saturation adjustment layer above it. And I have multiple layers here. So if you want to see all the layers, we've got just the flat lay of the strawberry shapes, the plants. And then that I have a separation of each leaf side. And that's just for me. I like that little bit of detail. And then we've got some lines and some shadows put on there. Really simple, not that complicated. So then we have our hue saturation layer. And if you don't know about adjustment layers, they are infinitely editable and they don't destroy anything, which is awesome. Sometimes there are adjustments thrown directly on layers which are permanent. This is an impermanent way of doing that, and all you need to do is clip it to the layer that you're working on and it will only adjust that layer. So here I am on the master, which you can go through each of the colors and really finagle them individually. But honestly, I think for this purpose, I'm just gonna go slightly warm, and you can see the difference that makes of like cool, warm, cool, warm. So that is just one of those little techniques that I use to do all of the color changes within a piece when I'm doing this kind of thing. So I'm going to throw another hue saturation over the strawberries, and I can go any color.
Look at that.
Blue strawberries? What do you think?
I really like the blue.
Oh,
I really like
really?
the blue. Can you tell? I saw the Super Mario movie for the first time on my flight over here.
Oh, no
and,
way.
Like, it reminds me of how I think the blue mushroom was like poisonous to him, and it's like the first one he almost eats.
Yeah.
It like shrinks him. Yeah.
Oh.
So
That's
like, maybe that's
hilarious.
just where my brain is going.
All right, let's leave it blue right now. Let's see what happens.
And there is another poll in the chat on your favorite element of this illustration, your favorite part of it.
But I need to see the answers. What was the answer to the poll before? Was it organized or disorganized? Do we have more people?
We haven't seen it yet. Let's see. Disorganized or organized? Where do you fit?
I need to
as a
know.
designer, as a creator.
Okay, so going with, I think actually I'll change this border last because I'm not quite sure where I want it to go color-wise. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of the outer border. And I don't mind this. This isn't like the worst I've seen. However, immediately the white is really eye-catching.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily want that. So again, let's just pixel lock it and see what kind of color would feel complementary in here. And this is really where we can like, you know, sky's the limit. We can go crazy. I loved in our little painting sketch of this having one offset color. So what if we use that blue in the center just to start things off?
And we have 67% are organized. They're in the organized house
More
of things.
organized
More
than
organized than more disorganized.
Y'all, I don't know you at all. What? I thought you were one of me. Wait, what? One of us. That's hilarious. But good for you. I mean, no disrespect. I think organized people are great, and the world needs you.
maybe they also fit into the category I'm in, where it was like a New Year's resolution that hasn't wavered off
no,
yet.
I want to be.
Let's come back and check this in June, and we'll see who's still feeling organized. I know I would probably lean
Who's
towards
actually
disorganized by then.
Lucas is calling y'all out. All right, so I'm going to turn off some of these colors so that they're not interfering with what we're seeing here. And we're just dealing with the red parts right now. Now, the problem I have with this border and color palette in particular is I'm gonna like a lot of things with this color.
Okay.
Because I love a good mustard yellow. Really, really love it. So it's one of those things that I'm gonna be torn about, but what do you think, Lucas? Red, does it stay or does it go?
I like the red. I say it stays.
Boom, he likes the red. All right, next one we have to change because you can't just keep everything. Okay, so thank you for that, by the way. I really appreciate your opinion. I'm going to pixel lock this layer before I forget, and then I'm going to fill it with just a green that I grabbed right now. And then if I want to change it, which I do, I want to change this, I can always, of course, put on our handy-dandy, trusty hue saturation layer. I can clip it by holding Alt or Option, hovering between click and down. And then we've got a hue saturation layer. Let's put it through its paces. I think what I want is a little bit lighter here, and then a little bit, maybe a lot bit cool. I think warmer. Warmer is better. We might need to up the saturation a little bit because the lighter you go with a color, the more saturated it needs to be to show up. It will go desaturated real quick. So, it goes, okay, I love yellow.
It does pop.
It does pop. But do it pop though?
Isn't that the cliche? Make it. Can you make this piece pop
make
a little
it pop
bit more?
a little bit more. Yeah. Thanks,
Client
art
feedback?
director.
Can you just make it pop?
Diss to all the art directors out there. So I'm gonna go in, and I think actually this dark orangish color could work better than the brighter orange that we have in here. So what I'm gonna do again is I have it pixel locked, fill, boom. I feel like it could go more saturated. So once again, you're gonna see me do this again and again, but really the emphasis is on the colors. So if you guys have any questions about like how to pick a new color, where my mind is going with all of this, I'm trying to let you into the process, but a lot of it is intuition. So I can maybe extrapolate on that if you guys have any questions.
And I love the pattern. I know you mentioned, can you let us know again, where can we find your tutorial for creating this pattern?
Yes, I've done a multitude of Adobe Lives, I feel like, based around patterns.
It's amazing. I want to go in and look at this.
I think I also, on my own YouTube channel, which is, it's dusty. I have not touched it in a while. And you're really, what do you call it, inspiring me to go back and do some stuff.
Okay,
because,
nice.
Again, if you missed the previous stream that we did today, Lucas showed us how to cut down your long form to short form content and drive some new people to you. It's awesome. But the YouTube channel, I did make a brief little clip about how to make patterns because I got so many questions about how I was doing it. And I want you to know how easy it is because, man, it is simple. Simple pimple.
That's why I wanted to see it because I was like, I believe you, it's easy, but that is a phenomenal pattern. I want to know.
And this one is inspired by just perusing some Pinterest boards and finding that I really love textile work. I think there's so much heritage and culture behind it, and there's also so much design work that it works so well. And I think it's, in a lot of art spaces, underappreciated. It's a plethora of just creativity. Look at textiles. Okay, so this is already yellow, and I want to change it to something else. I think we could go for a bright green, but not that saturated. Please down that saturation. Okay, what do you think of that?
I like it. So we're keeping the yellow?
Yes, we're
Yes.
keeping that yellow. Yeah. There was a different yellow. See, this was the original yellow, and then we accidentally changed another layer to yellow,
Okay.
so we're switching it up. Which also, if you're thinking of the final images that we're going to save out and have overlapping, if they both had yellow in the same place, that would be the only spot that doesn't change.
Oh,
so
okay.
by changing just where it is, it's not that you necessarily have to get rid of a color, it's that it's just in a different place.
That's very important to think about.
Yeah. It's very fun, the little puzzle pieces of this kind of thing, especially, I mean, literally with the pattern on the border here, it does feel like puzzly.
Oh, I particularly love seeing it when the layers are like turned on or turned off,
Yes,
and you can just see it
definitely.
like
Pop
step
into
by step
place.
by step, filling in the blanks.
I agree. It's very fun. So one thing too, I think it's a little disjointed on the border here, and I think one of the things is we have two colors that are almost the same, the greens. They're very
Okay.
close. Then we have two reds that are almost the same, very close. And then we've got a yellow and a blue. I'm thinking we either make the greens closer to the reds and yellows, or we take the reds and make them closer to the greens. What do you think?
Let's do greens closer to reds and yellows. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I know I'm being complex about it, but hey.
No, I
it's
could see
working.
the color
Good job.
transforming in my mind.
All right, excellent. So we're taking the greens and we're going to change them. Let's see. Oh, that's the blue, of course. All right, so this is a green. We're going to make it into a warmer color. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, actually, okay, happy accidents.
I love
this
those.
is one of the reasons I love the hue saturation layers, is because when you're sliding through here, all sorts of things can happen. So I think having kind of a grayish or more desaturated tone kind of pulls from the chicken itself. Like that color or like level of saturation isn't really reflected anywhere else. So I think that could work. Let's leave it for now.
It,
and of
it
course-
automatically makes it feel more full too. Like it pulls the colors in general
Yeah.
all together.
Maybe we needed more mid-tones, because again, this, like when you're working with color, you're not just working with color. It is also value, and values can change everything. They're actually like one of the first things that your eyes really picks apart and reads. So what I'm gonna do is also bump down the value of this green, because this is like a really light green and it's lovely. But again, does it serve our purpose? And no, I don't think so. It's not
There's
serving
our
its
like
purpose.
ectoplasmy green. That's what I'm naming that one. It's like Ghostbusters kind of color, you know?
Green. Oh wait, oops. That's hilarious. Like,
I think
that's
I have a new
what goes to-
appreciation for
Whoa,
just
whoa, whoa.
naming colors. Like,
Yeah,
is it
I'm
like
glad.
Pantone that names the colors, names all the colors?
I believe so.
I know Crayola does as well.
I believe so. And you can see, sorry, I just had like a little zhuzhing moment with the hue saturation layers. And it's so funny when they come out of order like that or unclip. Sometimes those happy accidents happen
Yeah.
as well. All right, so let's jump into this green. And I'm going to just make it dark, dark, dark.
Let us know in the chat, when have you had like a good happy accident on a project?
Yes.
Where something could have not gone right, but then all of a sudden it was like, you know what? That is what I didn't know I wanted. I'm going to go with that.
Actually, I'm a genius.
When did a happy accident make it pop?
I think that's the name of your next stream.
Yeah.
I was like,
Or a
whoops.
t-shirt, I don't know.
I like it. Okay, so we've got basically a really desaturated green, a really desaturated red now. I'm not sure if I want it to be green though. What if I did like a reddish purple, just to see, maybe lighter.
I do like that. As you've been sliding it, the purples have been catching my eye.
It's so hard. Yeah, I feel like it works. But honestly, okay, so stick with me. I think, see, this is the problem with like a stream that I'm like involved in colors. I'm just going to say half sentences again and again because I'm like,
Well, you did say it's picking the perfect palette. And like you said, every palette can be perfect, right? Every palette is perfect.
That's what I'm talking about with intuition. It's just what works for you. And I hate to say that because it's like a lot of people who want to improve their art or are learning from scratch or whatever, state you're in, they want to have step by step and be like, here is how you do it. And it's really frustrating sometimes to be like, well, just try to feel it out, good luck. But there is really a part of your brain where like logic leaves and intuition comes right in. So that can definitely be colors, but there are some palette rules that you can kind of lean on. So I would say...
We got some puns in the chat. Pecking the perfect palette.
Packing. You guys. The jocularity, it's overwhelming.
A creative exercise that I'm realizing from this is I feel like if you can look at a palette and you can name it, as we've been doing, we've had some really creative names in the chat. If you can name that palette, and then if that name feels or is associated with what you want the piece to look like, I think that's a good sign.
That's a really good
tie
idea.
those colors together. What name would you give it?
What's the vibe?
Yeah.
Give us a vibe. I agree. No, I think that is something that goes along with storytelling as well. Like if you're telling a story with an image, especially in children's books, one of those first things that can tell what is happening in a story is color.
Yes.
So if you turn the page and it just went from sunny and bright to dismal and dark, something just happened in the story. So that is the kind of thing that you can absolutely use to your advantage.
And I'm an elementary school teacher, and I teach all the way up from kindergarten to grade 8. And regardless of what grade I teach, I always incorporate in my language and reading program, I incorporate a picture book unit, whether they are 14 years old or 4 years old.
Love it.
And it's so inspiring to see just how engaged the 14-year-olds are.
Oh,
right?
really?
To a picture book. And a big part of it is, I'm not going up to every single one of them and showing them the pictures. I'm usually standing at the front of the classroom. I'm reading, but I can hold up the book for all to see. And no matter where you're sitting in the room, you can tell they can, like you said, they can feel the emotion, they can feel the intended vibe or message from the colors being used.
I love that, especially like the older kids understing it and like feeling it. I love the idea of somebody growing up with a book and getting different meaning from it every time.
Yeah.
And that's just, I've definitely had that experience and I love it. Okay, so I changed the comb color, the eyes colored. I think the blue strawberries are wacky but fun. So
keeping those in for me. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
exactly. This is Lucas's. All right. One thing I do want to do is just play with the idea of the body being a different color. And you know what? I think I'm now just realizing that I have one, what do you call it? Like a bonus layer that I didn't need. What's the name for like a superfluous thing you don't need? It's a vestigial layer.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Sure. Okay, so we've got the chicks and we've got the body, and I want them to be the same color. Maybe I have them as different colors in a different one, so I can just Command E and collapse those together. And then when I put the hue saturation layer on it, I can adjust both of them at once. Pretty nifty. So one thing I wanted here is just to play with value ever so slightly. This is really like sensitive because when you're doing a dark figure or a dark background, anything that's really delving into the darks with not a lot of contrast, that is a risky place to be. It's always a game of does it actually read, and it really depends on the venue. So we are working in RGB. This is for digital consumption. It is to look at it digitally. If you are working in print, totally different thing. You want CMYK, and darks show up completely differently. Take it from experience as someone who has gotten a book and been like, oh, that image I created is way darker.
That's from looking at it digitally to print?
Yes, and I tried as much as I could to make sure that I knew, like, okay, brighten everything as much as, you're comfortable with before sending it to print, because it will darken with ink. But anyways, I want to give that non sequitur so that we can really understand what's going on with this chicken. We want it to read as dark, as black, whatever, but we don't want it to get lost. So that is a super important thing. Speaking of getting lost, I feel like the legs and the beaks are not working right now.
Okay. Is it they don't stand out enough? You don't see them?
Indeed,
Yes.
yeah. I just want to up the contrast. So if we're working with the background that we have, how do we work with the contrast? We can make it brighter.
Ooh, I like that.
You do? Okay, good. We can up the saturation. We can mess with the color. We could have a green beak. What do you think?
We got chickens. Talk is cheap in the chat. I was going to say, I hope you're taking notes, especially on going from digital to print, because Anna is hatching up all these perfect expert tips.
Hatching up. Oh my gosh.
And,
we should have done this before Easter. It's so on theme.
The chickens were the favorite, following up on that poll, and the strawberries coming in at second for favorite aspects of this illustration.
All right, I love that. If you noticed, actually, I began with the sketch that had, let's see here, so many layers and groups, ferny kind of plants coming in and sparkles, which is like my background, like fill kind of go-to.
Okay.
Is like, okay, here's some foliage, here's some sparkles, like, meh. But as I was drawing, it just didn't feel right. It felt like I wanted more to fill it and also for it to be a subject. So that's when the strawberries came in, and I love them. And again, when you're working on something, I don't want you to go into it with the attitude of, okay, so I have this idea for an image and it's going to be that. I want you to ride the waves of just, this is what it needs to be. It will tell you along the way as you get to know it.
My favorite part of when I've done these Adobe Live sessions and been a host working with artists such as yourself, I love when artists incorporate like the initial rough sketch,
Yes.
and then looking back and forth, or sometimes almost ignoring it because you don't want to be too
totally.
confined to it, right? But then it's great that as you are working on the piece, different things happen and different ideas come to mind.
Exactly, and it's kind of a perfect little lead-in to looking at the color sketch that we made for this specific colorway. It's very different. Now, we started with some base colors that have kind of stayed the same, but we ditched the pink strawberries. We had that springtime palette around the outside, and it's gone much more to a earth tone with like a little bit of that sky blue in there. But I do think that it works. I think that this is really going nicely. And one of the fun things is when you make those little sketches or paint sketches of what you want the piece to look like, it's not that that information ever gets lost. It's not that like, oh, I have to nail it or else I'm not doing what I had in my vision. It's just take what you like from it that you didn't do in this one to the next one. Speaking of which, we could wrap up soon on this one and we could move on to a new one. What do you guys think?
Yeah, sounds good.
How much time do we have left?
We have about 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay. We might want to hop into Express just to show how to put all of these guys together. And then, actually, no. Okay, so what we're going to do, my indecisiveness ends here. What we're going to do is I'm going to save out some images as I show you the different color palettes that I have already made. So you're going to get a lot of satisfaction real quick, okay? Because there are different colorways already. All right, so I'm going to I'm going to save this one, and I'm going to call it Spring Chicken, which, hey, I'm already on you guys' pun train. And I'm going to call it Ochre. Ogre.
We also have surf and chirps as another pun in the chat.
Love it, love it. Well done. All right, so the next one
Anna is winging it.
You guys don't stop.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, I love it. I think it's worth it. Okay, for a pun, yes, always. Okay, so the next one I have is I just called it green. But if you have a feeling, then that's what we're going to name the file. All right, so we've got, first of all, this is the original. This is the new one that we just made. And here is the new one.
Ooh.
This is, I think, out of the first ones that I made, probably my favorite. So this one I just called green. What comes to mind when you see these colors, if you were to make like a little title of it?
A marsh?
A marsh? Spring chicken. Marsh. I love it. All right, let's
Marsh
do it.
for March. Oh, there we go.
March for March. March.
There we go. Marsh.
All right, let's call it Marsh. I love it. I was going to say something to do with Marsh. That's how I spell.
Clever Devlin is saying that's the sun-washed springtime they were thinking of.
Sun-washed springtime. It does have that feel. I love that. For some reason, to me, the obviously the overwhelming color is green. However, it makes the reds really stand out to me. And the reds on the border, if you were just to look at the border, I would think like tomato for some reason.
Yeah.
It just calls to me like that. All right, you ready for the next one?
Ready.
Okay, this one is blue, but again, more creative name. What do you think?
Oh, I love that. It's like Twilight-y almost. You know?
Yeah, we've got white chicken on the background, very different from our other one. Here, let's look at this next to the ochre. That's like, whoa, contrast.
Let's hear those names in the chat. Let's have those names.
And this one, the only difference that I remember when making it is I didn't like the texture layer on this one. I just wanted it to be flat blue. So that's what I did. And it's more of a purpley blue. So again, if I wanted to make yet another variety of this, I could do more of a greeny blue, a seafoam, if you will.
And so the texture layer is different from the shadow layer beneath their feet?
Yes,
I'm seeing?
yes, indeed. And those were all created with Kyle's bristle bomb brush, which again, just my fave.
We have Nightlight being suggested as one of the names for this palette.
I like it. Let's do it. Nightlight. Save.
Yeah, I think the yellow really stands out for me.
Yeah.
As like a nightlight or like a star.
That's the whole idea, I think, with this one is I was going for analogous color scheme, which if you have a color wheel, those are the colors that all are next to each other. So you have green, yellow, green, blue, green, analogous. So for this, it was really like blue, blue, green, but then also reaching a little bit into the purples.
Okay.
So that was like the most of the color was there, and then we had the highlight of gold, like.
Yeah, it really
That's
pierces
fun.
through, which is very nice.
Exactly. And then, last one, dark purple.
Ooh, we got names for that. Names for that.
Names for that.
Bonus points for puns.
All right, so I'm going to save this one out, and then we can hop into Express and show how to show off all of these.
Barnyard
awards.
Blues is what we're getting. That could be for the. I'm not sure
That
that
was
was for
the
the last
blues
one, but
one.
I like it.
I like it too. All right, this one's purple, but what would you call it? Let's say berry.
Okay, nice.
I had to decide one of them, obviously. These are my guys.
Yeah.
Okay, my little guys.
It's your flock?
What's
a group of chickens called?
Oh, we
Hey.
need to know.
Good thing I have
Yeah.
a computer.
Oh, handy dandy. Okay, so we are in Express now, everybody. Catch up. So what I'm
flock.
going to be doing. Wait, what?
A flock.
Is it really
Yeah.
just a flock? Okay, flock along.
Flock of chickens.
What the flock? Okay, so you are the expert in Express. If again you didn't catch the previous stream, you'll know what I mean. So if I do anything that seems counterintuitive, please tell me. I am one of those that I use it for what I usually use it for, and I'm trying to learn a new thing every single time. I'm gonna full screen this. Nope, that was.
But I know that's what we
shrink.
love about Express is, like you said, intuitive. It really is the word. If you're looking for a feature, there's probably a button that aligns with it. Try it out. It's probably the effect you're looking for.
Absolutely, I agree. So I'm going to bring in my own files. Those are some old ones. Okay, here we go. These are originals. Libraries, is that where it is? How do I bring in my images? Oh my gosh.
If you want to go to, if they're already images,
I
you just
just
go to
want
media.
Media. Okay,
them,
see, he's.
and then
There
upload
we
from
go. I
device.
was looking
Yeah.
for that. Okay, thank you. And it's all in just the downloads.
I do like
folder.
to, like when we have more time, I do like to put some of my favorite assets into my brand kit, into a library where you can access them for nice and quick use.
There we go.
Oh,
See,
look at that.
It's all coming together. Oh, wait. Marsh. There we go. Boom. And you can already see how satisfying it is to have them all just stacking up.
Perfect size, right? Just overlaying perfectly.
Oh, yeah. All right. So is there a way to select all of them all at once?
I just do Control All.
Oh, and you had set as page background. Is that going to fill it?
It'll fill one of them as the background. Yeah.
Yeah, but if I went through and did all of them, then they would be the same size. Yes. Right?
It might
Oh, wait, it's just one at a time?
It looks like it is, but yeah, because they're disappearing from the layer menu, so I think it is.
Oh, interesting. Wait, I want them as layers.
Yeah, so sometimes I'll just highlight them all and then just drag them all so they fill the right size.
There we
Yeah.
go. Boom.
And then I just fill them in.
Of course, it's the most intuitive
Yeah.
way to do it.
And then fill in those corners where you need them.
All right, so this is an Instagram story. So if I were to just have these guys pop up one after another, all I have to do is add some animations. So let's do. I think there we go. Wait, that's for cropping.
If you have the picture selected,
Beep.
and then at the very bottom left, there'll be animation.
I know all this stuff, but thank you for helping me out. Okay, so let's have. I think what we can do. How much time do we have?
We have about 10 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah.
we've got plenty of time to figure out what kind of animation is going to look good on
And
here.
that's why the word's Express.
Yes, exactly. It's all the time in the world if you're in Express. Okay, so what do we think? Should we shrink or grow into these?
Ooh, that looks cool. Like growing
Pop.
growing
yeah,
into
pop
the
is my
background
favorite.
before it was very neat, I think. Oh,
Ooh,
look at
but
the
the
fade.
fade.
I
think that's gotta
come
be
on,
it.
that's got to be a winner, no?
Gotta be.
With the overlap as well. I just learned. You just taught me a new effect. I have to try it.
As if I could teach you something. What? Okay, here
I
we go.
love that.
And then all you need to do is go to the next layer, animation, and then let's see. Should we do fade again? Would that be at the same time? So if we're creating different timing for these different guys, having them staggered, maybe the best way to do that, show layer timing. There we go. That's what it was. Beep. All right, so we're looking through here and we can see green fading to the ochre. Oh, because we have the
they
fade
probably
on here
overlap
as
a little
well.
bit. Yeah. If you tap that little dot while you have one selected, it'll let you open up another timeline for another project.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
How do you tap them?
Select the layer you want on the right there, what picture you want. And
Oh.
they all have their own separate timeline, and you can
Oh my gosh.
drag them all. By default, they're all the same length. And
Thank
that's where-
goodness you're here.
This is why I
Lucas.
love the
You're
drag and drop to
amazing.
like shrink, to extend things. Ooh, look at the it almost looks like nighttime to daytime,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, so that's one of the things I wanted to talk about is like which one we do when. So I wanted this to, of course, not be an assault on the senses where it's like, oh my gosh, there are so many colors and values changing. I think one of the things, though, that'll save that is for sure the fade, and then secondarily how long the fade lasts for. So this is something that doesn't have to be like, zoop, it just cuts to the next one, and you're like, whoa, my eyes see so much contrast. Instead, it's like nice 2 second, just over, or I think it's 5 seconds right
And
now.
the overlap is perfect.
Okay, so we've got the ochre going, or wait, this is the, oh yeah, it's showing the ones underneath. That makes sense. Okay, so.
And that
From
one we
the
got
top.
the name Berry Farms for that one. I like the berry in that.
Very good. Okay, so then we'll do this.
I can see a lot of
and
cool
we'll
projects with
do
this, with almost like seasons as well, like changing of the seasons.
Absolutely.
The day,
Oh, that
like
would be
the
so
daytime
fun.
cycle, day to night, and vice versa.
So let's make this one back here. I agree. I totally agree. Okay, so I don't have animations on every single one of them yet. That's what I'm going to go through and do. So we've got animations on the ochre.
The plot
berry,
chickens is
or
what we
the-
got in the chat. I gotta come in with the pun, the live pun forecast.
Stop. Too good. Too good. I love it. All right, let's play it now. We've got the first. Oh, wait. Something happened. What did I do? What did I do?
That one might not have anything applied. Or there we go. It might
this
slide
one.
it down a bit.
Boom. In. Fade. And I'm just going to keep the duration of all of them the same.
Yeah.
Beep, beep, beep.
I like when it's the same too. I find it's for the blend, it's nice and smooth.
I think I actually want to fade out with this one because it's the first one. You want to start with something and then have it fade to the next one. But then I have to fix all this timing that I messed up. Sorry. That's my bad.
But I love when you start with a project and then from just seeing the effect in motion, you get a new idea and you think, you know what? I like that fade. I'm going to try to actually apply this to every single slide.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree.
And I mentioned this during our session earlier, but I love how when you apply it, it gives you that preview right away, so you're not constantly having to hit play to see what it looks like.
Yes, agreed. So I want to make sure to overlap with enough room so that it doesn't go to white. And I can move them along, and you can see in the timeline even how long each one is going for, which is really cool. All right, let's play here. Whoa.
Yeah, that's
All the
awesome.
chickens. All right, so order of everything. How do you feel about this? Does it feel like the right order? We're kind of going from like bright to dark to bright, which
I like
kinda
that. It's almost like
yeah.
time passing, right? It's like time.
It's the day.
Yeah, it's like day after day.
Okay, awesome. So we've got our chicken post here. We've got a little bit,
We
or
got about 6 minutes.
6 minutes. Okay, should we add some like text, some like something to be like, hey, we should do a pun. We should do one of the chicken puns of the day, and just like make that the like.
Let's get our chicken puns. Let's get our chicken puns in the chat.
Everybody, chicken
Flood 'em,
puns.
flood the chat.
All right, so we've got a plethora of everything to choose from. See, I don't have all the brand packs that you, where you're all like ready to go and you have everything, but that is something that you can always do the default and work from there and figure out what your perfect brand looks like. That's where everybody starts from. So maybe we should say like, happy belated Easter would be like a kind of but we could use some kind of one of the puns that we've used throughout the stream to, I don't know, add some kind of zhuzh. What should it be? Oh, or if this is for social media, one of the best ways to kind of up that engagement is what we've been doing all stream, you didn't even know it, but you're a part of this, is say, which is your favorite? What, like, you know, engage with this. Say which one you like, or maybe give them some names. So we could do, which is your favorite?
We got Rob saying the pecking order. Favorite in the pecking order.
Love it.
Which is your favorite?
It looks so aggressive. I love it though. Okay, so we could have it up here. We could put a background behind it, make it
If
a
you
little...
just X out that, you might see your text a bit better. Just the notification bar.
There we go. Thank you. Ooh, whoa, all the different text types.
Yeah, so you got some recommendations.
I like this one. What do you think? Just like a little bit of something.
Yeah. I like the like italicized version of it too.
Agreed. Ooh, and we can do like a... Oh, that's cute.
That,
okay, I
that
like
looks
that.
that works really well with the image as well.
Exactly. That's what we like to see. I think putting it maybe in white won't, you know, go against any of the color palettes.
Right,
I
because it
think
does
that
have a lot
would-
of change going through.
Exactly. Oops.
Hatching creativity. These you are all experts at puns. I'm, like nobody, I will say, has done the very low hanging fruit of excellent. So shout out to all of you for thinking outside the
I love it.
the coop. I don't know. I'm just
The
I'm just reaching here now.
No, I think you're right along with them, getting everything perfect. Let's do a text effect on this. Oh wait, here, let's see. Shape none.
Yeah.
No, let's do an animation. I think an animation would work best. Okay. Yeah. Which is
Oh, the
your
growing.
favorite?
Yeah, that's very nice.
Ooh.
And then white was a good choice. It really does stand out, right, throughout most of
I
them.
think so.
You can apply
What do
like
you
some
think we
background
could
shapes
do?
if you'd like to, but no, that looks really good.
Let's try one background shape and just see. Beep, beep, beep. Do you have to highlight, or is it all just
It should just apply, yeah.
Awesome. Let's do...
Sometimes with the arch, you might have to change. Oh no, look at that. I love how it follows the arch. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe it would just fill out the semicircle, but I love
You
how
learn
it's
a new thing every
it's
day.
adhered to the arch.
Oh, the decorative is fun,
Yeah.
but not with the arch, personally.
No, yeah.
Let's just do...
We're looking for contrast.
Yeah, exactly. And I like... is that the right color for
That'll
it?
be
What
the
do you
text
think?
fill. If you want to change, if you
Well,
go
it's
back to
gotta
the
be-
shape, you can and then
Yeah.
shape fill. You can change the background.
What do you think? I mean, is black too much?
I think so.
Especially over all of these, we
Yeah.
kind of have to figure out like what works the best with all of them. Oh, ooh.
But that's just cool for like ideating and
Cute.
seeing. I like to do that very often where like I'll make it like a color that just does give a lot of contrast just as I like kind of test it out and see.
Absolutely.
Make sure the visibility strong. What will it look like with strong visibility?
I think I want it a little bit either wider or shorter. I actually kind of liked it in your stream when it went into the
Yeah,
letters.
it was kind
That
of
was
like
cool.
like a band crossing through it. Yeah.
Exactly. What do you think? Big or small?
I like big. I
Okay.
like the rainbow.
Go big.
kinda, yeah.
Go home.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so cool if we could
I know.
actually
Oh,
make it a
I know.
rainbow.
I'm sure with more time, with more time too, we could individually like clip each of these and like
Yes.
change the color. You can do really quite a lot in this video editor in here.
Absolutely. And it is honestly very intuitive when you get into it. So one of the things that I want you guys to shout out in the chat is actually which is your favorite? Which one do you like the best? Because
Yeah.
I am curious.
Even if it's easier to say, I like the background color, we can see them. We'll see them play a few times. Got the blues, the greens, the purples,
The ochre.
the ochre.
So what would you say?
I like the marshy green. I gotta go with the marshy green. Here
Marshy
it comes
green.
right now.
Yeah.
There it is.
I think green is my favorite as well.
That's
I
very
really
nice.
love it. But yeah, that is
I
always a
love
fun
seeing all the
thing.
different options. I love how I think they're all very strong. I love seeing them transform and change. And I've learned something very new from that, using that fade effect.
Yes, definitely. And again, your brilliant idea of having the quilt fill in through saved out images, having it like just boop, boop, boop. That would be a really great other post that I could make and just show off this one piece that I did, but it's not really one piece, it's like multitudes of pieces. But I also produce postcards for Patreon, and this could be a multitude of them. What if I
Yeah.
gave like a packet of different chickens and you could just choose your favorite and have it be like a, I feel like green today. Oh, actually, I feel like blue.
I like that too, because when you get something like that, you're always like, oh, I love this postcard. I need to part ways with it to send it. But it's also like, I have 4 of this option, but different colors. How am I feeling? How can I send
Exactly.
it?
Maybe Brad needs some blue in his
Yeah.
life. I'll write on the back of this one, send it. I love that.
Thank you so much for taking us through that, through those different
Yes.
tools, showing us how you can use it across different tools in the Adobe suite. I love also just seeing you do this live, drawing this right in front of us. Thank you so much, Anna. It's been a pleasure to see, and thank you to the chat for all of your puns. Clucking it real, I don't know, probably the worst one we've had all day. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.